In this world, there's two kinds of people, my friend. Those with loaded guns, and those who dig. Broadcasting from a Montana wilderness fortress at the headwaters of the Missouri, this is Matt Christiansen Live.
Then you can get it.
Go back to where you come from, okay?
Hello and welcome to the show. This is Matt Christiansen Live, a proud duct tape production for Sunday, July 5th, 2026. We have completed 250 years of America, and I trust you all celebrated accordingly. Happy Independence Day weekend. Thank you for tuning in. Sitting shotgun tonight in his usual Sunday seat, the highly regarded Matt Palumbo is here.
Saddle up,
Good
partner.
to be back. And I'm enjoying the fireworks show going on outside your house.
Well, that's actually intended. That's just a leftover from the show
Oh, that
intro.
is? Okay. Well,
But
before
you're
the
right.
show, I could hear it too. So
There were some neighbors who decided 7 p.m. Mountain is a great
Went to
time
go.
for the fireworks show sequel, which I do find slightly annoying considering it's still daylight out and I got stuff to do. But at the same time, am I going to be the neighborhood Karen policewoman and try to go bust that up? Nah, sorry if you hear any residual fireworks out there, but I don't hear it anymore. So should be good. How were your festivities?
It was good. Just met up with some, friends. Had a little, I guess, what we would call a pool party. I guess as adults, you just gather around a pool. It's not really even a party.
You didn't swim?
But anyway, I took a dip. I don't know. It's pretty boring, to be honest. Anyway, had to get together. General barbecue, burgers, all that.
All right. Well, I'm glad it was mildly festive. Anyway, great guest tonight. Not highly regarded, but highly respected author, Scott Greer, has a new book that's out, Whitepill, The Online Right and the Making of Trump's America. He'll give us some reasons for optimism on America's birthday weekend. Plus a few funny stories as well. Otherwise in the news for discussion tonight, a white man and a black woman get into a parking lot dispute at a Walmart in Florida, and she ends up shooting him dead on video. Now, based on what we could see in the video, I don't know if you've had time to review this. It's hard to say who's responsible for the conflict. It looks like it's a fight over an actual parking spot. But I would not advise advancing on someone when he or she has a gun pointed at you, which is what happened in this case. And the guy did not live to tell the story, unfortunately.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know who started it or what, but my wife and I were talking about the story a few days ago, and I was saying, I do know that if you were in an altercation where you had to pull a gun on someone and they then started advancing towards you, you do have to assume they're going to do the worst if they're advancing on someone who already has a gun drawn. Like,
It's gonna be
even if you shouldn't have in the first place. At that point, I don't know what else you're supposed to do.
Yeah, in layman terms, I completely agree. As far as the law is concerned, I think it's going to be really messy because there's a guy walking toward you presenting a lethal threat. Remember, it's not just were you in fear, it's would a reasonable person fear great bodily harm or death. It's going to be an interesting. We'll save it for when we get into that segment because I think there are a lot of different angles on this one. But also a Las Vegas area, or there was a Las Vegas area police bust of another not successful, but apparently would be transgender mass shooter sitting in a hotel casino parking garage, armed in a Subaru with a very impressive gun collection at home. Now, I'm a critic of the Subaru lesbian stereotype.
I know.
But I'm wondering, does this count? It's a quasi-lesbian relationship that involves a well-armed Subaru, and thankfully they were not able to carry out. This person was not able to carry out his apparently intended mass shooting.
So it's a guy who wants to be a girl drives a Subaru. Does that?
He stole the Subaru from his girlfriend, who is female.
And does she identify as a lesbian?
That I don't
but
know.
She counts the guy as a girl, even though he's
I don't
not?
know. Don't know.
Okay.
Just know that she has a lot of very cool guns. And I would say, though many would disagree, potentially, cool car as well. But I don't know if it fulfills the stereotype or not.
I think it expands from just the L to some of the other letters of the alphabet. You know,
you'll explain why the U.S. murder rate is dropping to record lows. Plus, Hoax hate to close, including an all-time watermelon-themed classic, which I'm excited to talk about. Of course, we'll check in with your Super Chats as well. Warning on Super Chat. Of course, I will do my best to read them. The system I have that aggregates them is, the duct tape is in action today. Doesn't look like it's acting correctly. I do have backup options to read your chat. So my goal is no chat is missed, but I just want that warning ahead of time in case there are some technical duct tape issues, which could be in play. Before we get into all of that, got to say hello to our featured listener-owned business for the evening. That's our friends at Hero Soap Company.
When you try Hero Soap Company, not only are you getting a great-smelling, all-natural product, not only can you subscribe and get soap sent straight to your door each month, but you can get signature soaps designed by yours truly. Timberline is the classic, a frosty pine experience where the forest meets the peaks. Double menthol for that high-altitude cooling effect. Or try Old West, highly underrated, people say. The sweet smell of leather and oak barrels will bust open the saloon doors. Or try any of Hero Soap's other fine offerings. Scents rotate regularly, so you can always find something fresh. You can do like I do and subscribe to get a random bar each month. So you get a great smelling surprise in your mailbox and you never have to remember soap at the store again. You might not know Hero Soap offers shampoo and conditioner as well. So even more ways to upgrade your shower. Remember, when you buy Hero Soap, you're not just getting a high quality made in the USA product. You're not just supporting this show, but you're also helping America's finest, too. A portion of every sale benefits military and first responder charities. Listeners of this show get 10% off everything from Hero Soap Company using promo code MCLISTENER at checkout. Let freedom clean with Hero Soap Company. Promo code MCLISTENER for 10% off site-wide. HeroSoapCompany.com. And by the way, our friends at Hero Soap Company have a special bundle just for America's upcoming 250th birthday. 3 exclusive new scents in one patriotic bundle: Freedom Pop, Stars and Stripes, and Liberty Spice. Pick up the America 250 bundle from Hero Soap to enhance your own shower or make a great gift for someone who loves America in your life. Yes, you do get 10% off with promo code MCLISTENER on the Hero Soap America 250 bundle as well. Find all the information on all our special offers at mattchristiansenmedia.com/deals. Deals by listeners. For listeners. Now, I'm sure everyone saw amazing displays of patriotism this weekend. Last night, first of all, our neighborhood fireworks display was incredible, and I'm amazed that they're already left over for whoever is shooting them off.
at least in Gallatin Valley, Montana, man, were people personally patriotic with their fireworks displays. I don't know what's legal in New Jersey. Do your neighbors have a good show?
I'm not sure the status now. I know it definitely used to be illegal in New Jersey, and there was this one fireworks store that was set up, like, I think it's called Phantom Fireworks, like 100 feet after the border into Pennsylvania, where everyone from Jersey would go. I don't know. I see so many fireworks though now that I feel like something must have changed in the law, or no one cares.
People just stopped caring.
It doesn't get enforced. One
they
of
have
the
at
two.
least a fraction of the spirit of 1776, which is nice to see. So not only was our locally were the fireworks and the spirit incredible. Before bed, I turned on the New York City fireworks, the Macy's fireworks show. That was crazy, as so much so that we thought it was AI at first. We didn't think it was real. That's how awesome this fireworks show. So great they, in fact, I guess, set the Brooklyn Bridge on fire in a couple different spots.
Worth it.
I mean, based on how awesome that show was, I'm not even mad. It was an engineering marvel, and if that's all that happened was like a spot fire or two, great job. So a lot of valid nominees for best show of the weekend. My personal award, though, goes to this guy on X. His name is Top Shot Dustin. He played the Star Spangled Banner by shooting finely tuned steel targets with his AR.
Like America, then you can get it.
That is Top Shot Dustin on X at Top Shot Dustin.
Very cool.
I wonder how. I'd be curious how long it took to set it up, but then it's kind of a memory game too. You got to know where to go, and you have to have reasonable timing, and you have to hit each one. So very impressive feat.
There's probably dozens to hundreds of hours of prep involved in.
He does have one cut in there. You know, he has the reload break. So,
but you have to learn like piano on a firearm.
Yeah, pretty much.
Seems challenging.
Yeah. Now, a lot of the Democrat Party propaganda over the weekend was comparing the national celebrations in 1976 to present day, 2026, trying to show that
changed.
Americans loved their country so much more back then, implicitly because, you know, Trump has ruined patriotism, which, of course, as you've discussed, is actually true about Democrats. Yeah. Their love of country depends entirely on who's in power. See the polling. So this is, even if this was true, it's kind of a cell phone. And so Jimmy Carter, was it Jimmy Carter? Was it, he was in power in 76. He got elected in 76. So it wasn't Carter who was the summer.
I thought it was. It wasn't 76 to 80. And
yeah,
then
but he
Reagan
got elected in 76, right? So he didn't come in until 77, right?
Yes.
I wish it
Reagan
worked out that cleanly,
in 81.
I guess.
Okay. Yeah, so I get it was Ford at the time?
Must have been.
Yes.
Right. Anyway, even if this was true, it's Democrats self-owning, saying like, yeah, we don't show up when our guy is not president. But the other bigger problem with this is they posted this on July 1st, 2nd, 3rd, and so they compared July 4th, 1976 to not July 4th, 2026. That's a problem. If you look at the photos from last night, now, I don't know what the attendance was, but there were clearly lots of people there for what was apparently the largest fireworks show ever, except for the one in my neighborhood. That was actually the biggest one ever. They beat DC by a little bit, but DC had a pretty good one. But in this theme, I happened to see this throwback ad that Coca-Cola made from 1976 this week, and now I'm convinced maybe we actually can't compete with the spirit of 76. And I don't mean 1776. I mean 1976.
My wife sent me this exact tweet the other day.
Well, this is
It's
energy.
a radicalizing tweet.
This is energy our country needs.
Coca-Cola's life. Everybody wants a little life. Coca-Cola's life. It's everything that makes you living nice. Coca-Cola. Keep the sun shining down on your parade. Coca-Cola. Beat your drum now. Sing my song. Coca-Cola. Who's it alone? Coca-Cola's life. Everybody wants a little life. Coca-Cola's life. It's everything that makes you live nice. Coca-Cola. You and me. Reaching for some extra fun. Coca-Cola. We're gonna sing and we're gonna shout. Start all over when the stars come out. Coca-Cola's life. Everybody wants a little life. Coca-Cola.
Okay, there were slaves getting along with slave masters in that video. That was national unity.
That
It was a
peak
different
Americana.
time. Yeah. And so maybe the bicentennial did beat the semi-quincentennial, but you be the judge.
Yep. Yeah, and you know, you were talking about how, and the polling backs this up, that Democrats' patriotism is usually in like the 40 to 50%. Are proud to be an American when a Republican's in office. It goes up to, a normal amount, like 80+% when a Democrat's in office. For Republicans, it's usually between 80 and 90%, pretty much always. And then the other thing, too, is the demographics of the country have changed. And I know a lot of people on the right like to convince themselves that, it's okay because they're going to assimilate and become Americans. And they love to quote Reagan as saying as much. It hasn't really seemed to pan out. I don't know how much assimilation we've gotten in the past 60 or 70 years, but really not that much.
Well, speaking of demographic considerations, for all the unity there was in that Coke ad, outgoing Congresswoman for Waffle House, an attempted Senate candidate, though she lost to James Tallarico, Jasmine Crockett is here to destroy whatever racial unity we were observing in 76 there. Coincidentally, this message is also sponsored by Coca-Cola, if you look in the top right there.
What?
Because her commentary here was part of the Essence Festival of Culture this week, and Coke is a sponsor, which is why you see the Coca-Cola logo there. Jasmine Crockett says America owes black women everything.
This 4th of July, I say celebrate a black woman that you know, because whether it's an invention that she made or whether it's the very democracy that still hangs by a thread right now, there is a black woman to thank for her contributions. When it comes to answering the question of what America owes black women, the answer is everything. When we think about the sacrifices that black women have made from the moment that we were stolen from our homelands and transported into this country.
False.
Yeah. Here's the thought experiment. I would love someone to ask one of these people. If we could snap our fingers and slavery in America never happened, but once we do that, every ripple effect goes away, or so it's like a butterfly effect. So that means there's probably no African population in the U.S. because they didn't get here in the first place.
Well, our country would be in ruin, first of all. I mean, without black women building,
we lose all our inventions. But
Yeah.
but my point being, what percentage of black people would take that deal? Because you get all the
Jasmine
benefits.
Crockett might.
I don't know,
she's
but
dumb enough to.
90% would not, because
Yeah, well.
for as much as they want to talk about the pain of their ancestors, they don't have to experience it. That you can literally make that pain go away by not thinking about it. But they get all the benefits of living here. So I don't know, maybe be appreciative or something. But anyway, when it comes to the black inventions thing, it reminded me of. Have you ever seen the black woman invented the telescope tweet from Howling Mute? It's one of the best tweets of all time.
Yeah, I saw that referenced responding to this, and I did pull up the AI list of black female inventors, and I don't see telescope on here, though. So I gather that's like
it's
a
a
meme.
joke. So the tweet was like, "Did you know that a black woman invented the telescope? Sure, there may be no evidence for this. In fact, you might even have a lot of evidence to the contrary. But let's be honest here. Do you really want to lose your job over this?" Of course not. A black woman invented the telescope. That's literally explains every single one of these takes and how they can continue. It was such a good tweet.
Well, her point there is that black women, if not built the entire country, contributed significantly toward its advancement. And yet they came here against their will, captured through slavery. That last part is true, captured through slavery and all that, though, of course, I would dispute the premise that
they were sold by
white
other blacks,
Europeans are uniquely responsible for that. But if the premise is that despite the wrong that was slavery, black women have contributed greatly to the United States, shouldn't it follow that these genius black female minds that remained in Africa and did not face such oppression would be liberated to build much more incredible things, much more prosperous countries? And yet, to your point, if one could trade, one would not, unless they possess a Jasmine Crockett level low IQ.
Yeah. The guys who wrote that book, Freakonomics, I can't remember if I'm repeating myself from a different show, but they had a contest like a decade or two ago from their audience where they asked, come up with the best slogan for America. And the slogan that won the contest was, America, our biggest critics refuse to leave.
Yeah. Yes.
It was so good.
Didn't you say that last Sunday? Didn't I just hear that a second ago?
I must have said that last episode. I must have recycled that comment. Yeah.
All right.
It was so good I had to make it twice.
I'll give you the laugh anyway. But don't overuse it.
All right.
Sorry. By the way, okay, so speaking of black female inventors, did you know that Ben Franklin was a black female inventor and democracy establisher?
He also invented the telescope, yeah.
Yeah, that too.
Yeah.
So in Philadelphia, of course, Ben Franklin's longtime home, event organizers hosted a Ben Franklin lookalike contest this year. The aim was to have 250 Ben Franklins walking around the streets of Philadelphia for America 250. And after fierce competition, just like Jasmine Crockett ordered, they crowned a black chick as the most Ben Franklin-like.
I love cosplay. I love dressing up, and I already had this costume. So I just wanted to come and show everyone, what I made because I like to sew, and this is one of my first costumes. Why do you think you won today? I don't know. I think it's because of the wig. Like the wig is very curly. I think it's also just like because I made it. I don't know though. I was so unexpected. I was not expecting to win.
So I'm actually a little bit torn here. I do think that compared to the crowd, she's at least on the effort level. All right.
The dress is great. You can't deny that.
So I think the costume overall is pretty legit. And the competition otherwise was not great. Now, this guy, like behind in the back row here.
The Quaker Oats guy, yeah.
Yeah, but that looks pretty authentic. So maybe he deserved a better chance. Yeah. But I don't think this is obviously like some DEI decision.
I'll allow it.
Unless we are going to say that only white males, she obviously doesn't look like Ben Franklin because she's a black chick. Mm-hmm. But the standard and the rules of the competition are not white males only, and they'd probably be in legal trouble if they did that. My sources also say that the case or the winner was decided by audience applause. So maybe she stacked the audience with a bunch of Jasmine Crockett's. I don't know.
They are louder. So
if it is decibels, then she did have an advantage. You're right. But it doesn't sound like it was, some college professor judge who sat in judgment of this. So I actually, I'm going to say in the world of costuming where the point is being somebody who is not you and sometimes doesn't fit your demographics, I don't have a problem with this. Really, my biggest point of confusion is why she made the bald part of her wig white in skin tone. Because she said, I did a great job on my wig, and that's why everyone liked it so much. If you're going to go white bald cap, don't you have to do white face? If she committed to white face, I'd be like, I agree. Great job. Good for you.
I would not be offended by whiteface. It would be a commitment to the bit. This isn't like that crazy of a story if it's based off of the costume and how realistic that is. I mean, obviously, there's no world where she could ever possibly look like Ben Franklin, and I just don't know how much the audience is weighing your physical appearance versus the costume part. But
she clearly tried on the costume.
Yeah,
she did not just show up and she didn't show up with like a kite and a key and be like, I'm here to collect my prize.
Yeah.
But anyway. All right. I regret to report there's been another very Henry Nowak-like arrest in the UK, this time in Birmingham. Now, recall Henry Nowak was stabbed by a Sikh guy. We've discussed it at length. The police what word am I trying to say? Put Henry. All right, let's try again. 3, 2, 1. The police put Henry in handcuffs because they suspected he was a racist. And he, of course, died. Now, this time, a group of what looks like a bunch of black guys were harassing a white guy on the sidewalk. And one of the black guys clotheslines the white guy, like walks up, puts his arm out, and just knocks him over while running at him. And then finally, a police officer intervenes after the white guy has been clotheslined, but it's a chick cop who arrests the white guy. And then because this guy is so confused after being attacked by a group of guys, he doesn't know who is handling him physically. He kind of flails and he hits the chick cop in the head. And the chick cop says, "You punched me in the head, and now you're under arrest for assault on a police officer."
Here, just run away.
Do not fucking punch me right behind.
I'm trying to move that way.
Put your hands behind your back.
I'm trying to move that way, bro. What?
You just fucking punched me in
No,
the face.
my nan's actually, I'm trying to move that way, bro. What the fuck? Please, I'm trying to go home. Please, I'm trying to go home. No, please, I'm trying to go home. Gee, what the fuck, bro? I'm trying to go home.
No, you're gonna walk to the fucking car, you dick.
What the fuck, bro? Please.
Why didn't you know? Get in the car.
Listen, bro. In the fucking car.
Put your legs in. What's your fucking behaviour about?
So rude.
Punch you in there. Someone clotheslined him, and then someone hit him from behind, and that's when you went in. And all I can say in his defence, he probably thought you were one of the attackers at that moment.
Okay. Yep. So somebody's assaulted him first.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll jump.
Well, if she at least somehow was blind and didn't see, I guess that's better. But she shouldn't be a cop. Although she can take a punch well, which is impressive. So
yeah, but was it really a punch? It was just kind of incidental. I mean, it's not like she got it Moldy Lock style square to the bridge of the nose, you know?
True. But for a man on female thing, I also too, when she realized at the end she was in the wrong, maybe, try to remedy that instead of going, "Oh, I did that for no reason." Okay, cool.
I guess you're not a dick. You heard her call him a dick.
Not a dick
during that. So
sorry, my last comment.
Yeah,
it should be illegal to be that you and I can get arrested by a female cop. Quite frankly,
the state should not be capable of such recklessness.
And then when I get pulled over for speeding and it's like a 22-year-old cop, I'm like, come on, like, go.
I haven't had that experience. I've never been pulled over by a younger cop.
I'm not accepting this ticket from you.
I haven't been pulled over since like sometime around 2009. No, that's not true. I think the last time I was pulled over, that's right. It was in Colorado in a rental car. So this would have been 2012 was the last time I've never been pulled over by a younger cop. Have you had that experience?
I talked my way out of it, but if I didn't, I still would have, refused to pay. Maybe. Probably not. I'm kind of talking shit. Anyway, go ahead.
The video here is from a streamer called Knockout Audit. And that video, of course, went viral. The police force involved here, it's West Midlands Police, again in Birmingham, originally reviewed the incident after the video went viral, and then they released a statement. Quote, "We have no concerns over the officers' actions, and we are satisfied that they were reasonable and proportionate in the circumstances."
That's incorrect.
In the statement, which it's actually inaccessible online as far as I can tell. They have this statement here, and if I click it, no matter where I click it from, did they open it up? It told me my IP was blocked. Okay, so now they have unlocked it. For a while throughout the day today, no matter what IP I used to access this, I could not access their stupid statement. Maybe it was just flooded with traffic or something like that. But not only did they say that we're satisfied with the course of action taken here, they actually asked people to stop sharing the video. They said, "We ask that the footage is not further shared to allow the legal process to take its course." So as of now, I believe the legal status is still that the only person charged is the victim, the white guy who was clotheslined. He's charged with assault on a police officer, possibly resisting arrest there at the end. But it's 20-year-old Cody Harper. He is set to appear in court on July 23rd on that assault on a police officer charge, possibly more. I don't know. No members of that teen takeover there arrested or charged. In fact, I believe the police allowed them to escape the scene while they were arresting the white guy.
Yeah. It does seem implausible to me that she missed the initial him getting attacked, but then within a second or two was able to intervene. I don't understand. Did she have her back to them and then jump around? It's like I just don't understand.
Their statement says they were making another arrest at the time and they didn't see the clotheslining, but she reacted so quickly. I find it impossible to believe that she did not see the clotheslining is what prompted her to get involved. I don't see any other way to explain that.
Yeah.
So,
well, at least this is the one time it's good they don't have guns in the UK, because we know how that goes with female cops.
Well, yeah, I don't know. Either she would have missed entirely or she would have shot him like right in a vital organ, so he would have a very slow and painful death.
Yeah.
All right. I also regret to report that the illegal immigrant truck drivers have claimed another one. This one's not an Indian named Suckdeep Singh, but it is a Haitian guy named Michael Bone or Bone. I don't know. Of course, last week we discussed the Supreme Court saying the Haitians can go home now, but nobody has removed them yet. So Michael Bone remains around and driving a truck, apparently. So on Wednesday morning on Interstate 81 in Schuylkill County, Pennsylvania, this is northwest of Philadelphia, Michael Bone drove his tractor trailer off the roadway, fatally struck Pennsylvania State Trooper Michael Pahira. Excuse me. I have kids, so I'm perpetually diseased. It's one disease to the next. Bone has been arrested and charged with homicide by vehicle. DHS filed an immigration detainer for him because he is indeed an illegal immigrant. He entered the country through Fort Lauderdale in July 2024 as a parolee. He filed for temporary protected status, what the Supreme Court had considered in that decision. He never actually received temporary protected status. In June 2025, his parole was terminated, but he remained in the country anyway, and he's been driving around with a Massachusetts commercial driver's license ever since, apparently. Not confirmed when that license was issued, but that's how he was driving this truck around.
Deport.
Well, too late.
Really
apparently, he's going to have to go through this vehicle homicide trial first, and then maybe they put him in prison, and then maybe they send him back to Haiti. I don't know.
Right. Yeah, I like Trump's idea of building prisons in other countries to send illegal alien criminals to. There's just something sinister sounding about it that I like, but
we do clearly we need some level of deterrence for the border.
We need Alcatraz for these people.
Yeah, I mean, like for a lot of them, what was the story I just talked about a couple weeks ago? Forget the context, but there was an illegal immigrant in there who had entered the country 9 times. How in the hell? It's just like the what's the Simpsons meme with Moe throwing Barney out of the bar and then Barney just appears right there behind him again.
Or whatever. Yeah,
that's what we do with a lot of these worst offending illegal immigrants. Yep. So there's got to be a deterrent. All right, maybe if you want to be humane, maybe you offer a mulligan. But 9 times guy needs to face the alligator. All right, he needs to. I don't think we should, by the way, I don't think we should do the humane mulligan. I'm just saying, like, people have to actually fear the consequences, you know?
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, the good thing about harsh policies is even if they are harsh, even if it's to the point where they seem inhumane, they do also carry a deterrent effect where if people don't want to face them, they just don't try in the first place. And
look at the effect with Trump just enforcing the border. A lot of what's going well with the border is people aren't showing up on the scale anymore.
They can't.
Because they know just the prospect of removal is deterrent enough for many of these hordes. So if the prospect was swim through the alligator moat, how much more of a deterrent do you think you would actually have? Yeah. I think it'd be significant.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I like one thing, too, the Trump administration is doing, too, is, actually, for many decades, at least, we've been allowed to financially give penalties for being in the country illegally, and no administration had done it up until Trump in the past year or two. So there are illegals in this country that are racking up fines in the hundreds of thousands to millions of dollars, and it's to the point where the only way to get it, around it would be to, I guess, kind of be off the grid for your whole life or just leave the country. But it also makes it too where, like, even if there was amnesty down the road or something, they would still owe that debt in theory. But hopefully we never get there.
Well, If the U.S. is never paying its national debt, illegal
They're probably
immigrants
not
are
paying
not.
theirs.
Maybe that's one way we can pay off our debt. The levels of
that'd be
fines for illegal immigrants will exceed the 30 whatever trillion dollars we have in
Yeah.
national debt, and we collect it from them. Maybe that's a viable
I like
path.
that idea. Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
We
let's
could
get into
also-
this. Go ahead. Sorry.
I was going to say, too, we could also, to incentivize self-deportation, confiscate assets from regular deportations. Be like, whatever you have on you is ours. If you own property, which somehow illegals do, it becomes state property or something. And then, too, if they all have fines as well, you could, in theory, justify seizing those assets to pay for them and all that. But I would obviously prefer it if they all just left on their own.
Let's get into this this Florida parking lot shooting at a Walmart. So this is North Lauderdale, Florida. 62-year-old white man, Bart, I'm going to butcher this last name. It's DeGuglielmo. I think DeGuglielmo is his name. He's dead after he was shot by a black woman still unidentified. The shooting and much of the confrontation ahead of it was captured on video by witnesses. Witnesses say the two were arguing about a parking spot. There are a couple different angles of what happened. Excuse me. So video shows and witnesses say that the man first blocked the parking spot in question with a car or his car for a few minutes. Then he moved away, and the black woman pulls into that space, and she gets out of her car and she starts talking to other people who were nearby. And those people tell her, well, that guy you were arguing with, he's still in the parking lot. And then the man approaches, and as he approaches, she points a gun that she's carrying, and they talk for a minute or so. I don't know the exact timeline, but they talk for a relatively long period of time. It's not point and shoot. He eventually moves toward her, actually twice, which we'll see. And then she fires, and she was not arrested. She's actually not been charged. She is claiming self-defense. So here are a couple different reports that offer us, I think, a relatively complete look, or at least as complete as possible, about what happened here.
A deadly confrontation in a North Lauderdale Walmart parking lot off McNabb Road. Investigators with the Broward Sheriff's Office say Monday a woman and 62-year-old Bart DeGuglielmo were arguing over a parking spot when the woman pulled out a gun. Video provided by witnesses show the 62-year-old fall to the ground bleeding from his stomach area. The father of three would eventually die from his injuries. According to investigators, the woman claims she shot in self-defense. The video shows Bart and the woman going back and forth for some time as the woman is pointing a gun and on the phone. Police eventually arrive. You can see the woman with the gun talking to detectives. Amanda says her father should be alive and she wants to know what happened.
I'm hearing different things like on news sites, like it was over. I heard one news site say it was over a parking spot. Another person said it was because my dad was making some type of advance towards the woman.
This shooting remains under investigation. That woman was not arrested. No charges have been filed, and the case will be passed over to the state attorney's office for review.
So that report makes it look like the guy just walked toward her and she shot. It's not quite that simple. When I say that he advanced twice, this second report will give us a clearer understanding of what that actually looks like.
Take a look at this dash cam video. That's the woman with the gun on the left, getting out of her car, holding a phone in her left hand and a gun in her right. A witness tells 7 News that moments before this, she'd gotten into an argument over that space with the man we see in that cell phone video. In fact, the witness says the man parked his white SUV like this, blocking the space, but minutes later he moved. She then pulls into the space, and according to the witness, she spoke briefly to the people in that white Honda, who the witness says told her the man was still in the parking lot. Then you see him, 62-year-old Bart DeGuglielmo, walking up to her. She points the gun, and for at least 30 seconds they exchange words. At one point, he follows her as she walks around another car, still pointing the gun. He appears to walk away, but immediately comes back, and she fires. All this time, it appears she's still on the phone. He remains conscious on the ground as one car stops, but then keeps going. Then a second car behind them. For more than 2 minutes, pedestrians and cars go by. The man was alternately sitting up and lying down, but he would later die at the hospital. Deputies arrived roughly 3 minutes after the shooting, and that woman, we're told, is claiming self-defense.
Okay, so it's entirely possible that guy had some valid reason to block the space momentarily, and it's entirely possible that the black woman became unreasonably angry.
Never happened before.
Entirely possible the guy is right in the argument of words, but where he loses the moral and perhaps legal ground is when he starts advancing toward her physically, which again he did twice. For whatever we can offer for the first time, he advances toward her. She has the gun pointed and is saying something to the effect of "get away from me," and moving back. She's going around other cars. He's pursuing her. Then he leaves. Then he comes back. Okay, you've now advanced physically twice. Now, did he present a threat credible enough for use of lethal force? That's going to be the legal question for the district attorney that the DA is evaluating right now. Point of fact, the guy who was shot dead, Bart, was unarmed at the time. You could see at one point he did have his hands up. He did not present a weapon himself. But this woman, whether her initial point on the parking spot was justified or not, she did give this guy plenty of time before pulling that trigger. And whether she's justified in the initial point matters too, because as a legal matter, you can't just point a gun at somebody without justification either. That itself would be a crime if you didn't have a reasonable fear of death or great bodily harm against you. So did this guy present that? This is why it's kind of a legal like she's retreating from him because she's afraid of him, but maybe he's pissed off because she pointed the gun, and maybe she pointed the gun too early without technical legal justification.
So that I was going to ask you about. Is it legal? Like, obviously, if out in public and I point a gun at someone, that's illegal.
Yeah. Yes.
Is she allowed to? Because there's a heated argument going on. Like, I can't imagine in any. I don't know. It just seems very unlikely. Like, you and I could be yelling at each other, having an argument, and then that justifies me taking out a gun, and then escalates from there. Like, yeah. I'm trying to see both sides of this, where I don't know if she was right to pull it out in the first place. And the question aside of, is it a justified shooting or not? This is more advice than commentary. If someone pulls out a gun or a knife, just get the hell out of there.
The guy did walk away from the pointed gun. He walked away from her pointing. Now, the question about when you're justified to point, what Florida law has to say about this, I'm not a lawyer in Florida. Consult your favorite Florida criminal defense attorney or self-defense attorney. But generally speaking, like pulling the trigger itself, to point a gun at someone, which is an assault itself without justification, you need to have reasonable fear for either death or great bodily harm, a felony integrity. It's going to come, it all comes down to what a jury considers a reasonable person's fear. It's not just her saying, I was afraid. It's whether a jury considers the reaction reasonable. If I was arguing for her, I would say, look, this is a woman who has a man approaching her with hostile intent multiple times. That's why she pointed. She didn't want a physical confrontation. This guy was advancing on her physically, and under Florida law, as far as I understand, with their stand their ground law, it is not her job to run away. It is not her job to wait until he has realized a fatal threat against her. She has the right to stand her ground and defend herself, including the pointing of a gun when she has a reasonable fear for her safety in the form of a threat to her life or great bodily injury. Now, on the other side, for that guy, is just walking towards someone that sort of threat. That's where this is very messy. But it's incredibly stupid. Like, that guy died a very stupid death. Yeah, whatever the argument was, you could have walked away as demonstrated by the fact that you did.
Yeah. Well, it's the is walking towards someone threatening?
Can be. It depends on what was said too.
Me, the way if ignoring all the context of me holding a gun, if that guy walked towards me the way he did to her, I would not assume it was threatening. However, if I had a gun pointed at him and then he's willing to come at me, I have to assume, like, in what world is he not going to assault me?
Yeah, you wonder if this could end up in a strange legal scenario where the point is not justified, but the shot is, which is kind of where you're going.
I think, here's the thing. I think we both want self-defense laws to be generous enough where you are going to have ambiguous cases where you go, maybe that shot was totally unnecessary, maybe it was bullshit, but I think it is better to err on the side of allowing a lot as opposed to a situation where people are waiting to get hit before they take a shot. So,
I would agree.
But this also, I was just reminded a few weeks ago that the Chud the Builder case, like, if this is self-defense, this Chud the Builder case is 1,000,000% self-defense as well. And, it is also BS. There is sort of this inequality here, although obviously it's different states and all that, but still.
Yeah. So this is going to be a fascinating case to watch, and I certainly will. I'll see how this develops. Again, as of now, no charges filed, investigation ongoing with the DA. But I do want to emphasize that point in closing and in summary. Just don't walk toward pointed guns if you have the option of turning around and walking away. And this guy did. He tried walking toward the pointed gun twice. You don't have to do that. Now, I also will say I reserve my right to change my opinion based on additional information that comes out here.
For sure.
If it could be shown that, say, the black woman got out of the car and yelled some kind of threat at the guy, or herself presented some sort of unreasonable aggression upon him, which is why he was acting the way he was, it would change the calculation. I'm not sure what exactly that would be, again, given the fact that he had an extended period of time to walk away from a pointed gun. Yeah. But you never know. A lot of this case depends on what was said between. Did someone make a threat? Did someone say, I'm going to kill you? Something like that. We just don't know until we get more clarity on what exactly that interaction was.
Yeah, we will see.
All right.
But no, just words to the wise: do not die over a parking spot. It's way too embarrassing of a reason to die.
You don't have to fight over parking spots, because if you park up close to the store like that, you know what's going to happen? It might not be as bad as getting shot, but you're going to get a door ding put in your car, and that will be incredibly infuriating. I can't stand those. So just do what I do and park at the very far end of the parking lot and get your steps in for the day. Yeah. And enjoy your walk to the storefront and enjoy your pristine car doors that are not dinged. Because, by the way, the same sort of person who's going to shoot you dead in a parking lot is the same sort of person who's going to ding your car. You want to stay away.
Yeah,
from
Scott
that.
Adams had some good commentary on how to avoid all of this.
I seem to remember some commentary on that theme. But hey, speaking of sweet cars, apparently another would-be transgender mass shooting was stopped outside of Las Vegas last weekend. And when this story was posted in the MC Club Discord server this week, the first thing I noticed was the car. Because I, of course, for people who listen frequently, I am a Subaru appreciator and defender. And the stereotype and the meme about Subaru, I don't go out of my way to promote it. I just defend it. I defend Subaru from unjust attacks. And usually that's in the form of the tired joke of lesbians driving Subarus, though I have never witnessed such a thing in my entire life. And I lived in Portland, Oregon for 4 years. All right. There are a lot of lesbians and a lot of Subarus in Portland, Oregon, but mostly the actual drivers of Subarus are just soccer moms with generic left-wing politics expressed on a bumper sticker on the back. And then there's a lot of, bum, like ski bum guys, like dirtbag mountain sports people, skiers, climbers, that sort of thing. Anyway, maybe transgender mass shooter is also a Subaru demographic, or maybe this finally does fit into that meme. Allison Howlett, a 36-year-old transgender woman, as in man dressed up as a woman, was arrested at the Sunset Station Casino parking garage. So this is not in Vegas. It's not on the Strip. It's Henderson, Nevada, but very close by. This was around 11 a.m. last Saturday, June 27th. There was I don't know if a standoff would be the technical term, but this guy is in his Subaru in the parking garage. Police are trying to get him to come out. He has guns in the car. He won't come out, and so they're trying to get him to come out. Eventually, he asks for a glass of water, and police use the opportunity to arrest him. But when I first looked at the story, the first thing I noticed was, look at that. That is a pristine, I bet he doesn't even have a door ding, a pristine Subaru WRX in the iconic World Rally Blue paint, which is the correct choice. All right. And in the limited trim, at least if my eyes are correct. It's a pretty sweet car. You don't see a lot of mass shooters driving around, at least my choice of vehicle, though it's highly criticized by many. And so this car is apparently this car is the property of Howlett's girlfriend. So again, man dressed as a woman has a girlfriend. The girlfriend calls Henderson police or calls 911 at 9:30 a.m. Again, this is Saturday, June 27th. They had a domestic dispute. Does it count as lesbian on lesbian violence? You decide.
I guess according to their standards, yeah.
Yeah. The caller says that Howlett stole her car and it was loaded with guns, or had guns in it. Howlett had made threats about suicide by cop and a possible mass shooting. So police tracked the guy and his sweet Subaru to this parking garage, cornered him in this standoff that lasted for a while. And again, Howlett asked for a glass of water. They finally make their move and make the arrest.
To get out.
During negotiations, she asked for water. The quick-thinking officers developed a plan to take her into custody as an opportunity arose when she reached for the water.
Police say Allison Howlett was tased once before being detained. Investigators saying the suspect was sitting on a handgun and had access to a loaded, fully automatic firearm with a silencer in the back seat.
This was my question because I knew I was going to say this guy has to be a man because only a man can drive what is assuredly a manual transmission car. This is actually this is one of the 10% or so of this car that is sold in an automatic transmission. So he really is leaning into the female bit. This is not a manual transmission car. All right, interesting. I couldn't get a view of the gear selector there until I saw this frame. So now we know. I guess it's maybe he is fully converted. Maybe he is in fact a woman. He's driving an automatic Subaru WRX. All right, let's resume.
Suspect was sitting on a handgun.
Oh wait, sorry. No, let me get this back up. Hold on.
Duct tape all over the place. It's a disgrace.
Try again. What clip was this? Let's go here.
To get out.
During negotiations, she asked for water.
Before being detained, investigators saying the suspect was sitting on a handgun and had access to a loaded, fully automatic firearm with a silencer in the back seat.
There's no doubt that they faced an incredible danger, and thanks to them, they were able to prevent this from escalating any further.
Police played an audio recording from 2024 where they say Howlett talked about carrying out an active shooter or mass attack in Las Vegas.
You're going to be the reason hundreds of people lose their life.
Obviously, for our community here in Las Vegas, after dealing with 1 October, those types of threats are taken very seriously.
Okay, so then police searched the house and they found quite the arsenal. That's usually a word that's like used by news media to describe a guy who has like a rifle and a shotgun and a handgun. His arsenal. I don't know. This is actually a pretty sweet collection and impressive even. There are many restricted NFA items in this. So reportedly fully automatic weapons, short-barreled weapons, suppressors, grenade launchers, none of which are necessarily illegal to own, but they do require special federal paperwork and a process and all that. And apparently these guns, like the car, again, they're the property of the girlfriend, not the transgender guy. So now Allison Howell is charged with assault with a deadly weapon for the domestic violence that led to the 911 call and the arrest, making threats related to terrorism, which I assume is based on that audio recording, resisting police during the arrest, multiple weapons-related charges for the short-barreled rifles, machine guns, and silencers. So either those guns aren't the property or are not properly registered to this transgender guy, or he wasn't authorized to possess them on his own, or both. Now, a few things. Number one, yet another example of a transgender shooter or would-be transgender shooter in this case, which apparently is not part of a statistical trend whatsoever. There's nothing to see here. Actually, you know what this is? This is support for the actual demographic truth that white men are most mass shooters. And this guy, he'll be she during the press conference, but as soon as they record it in the crime statistics, white male, Allison Howell. The media, it wasn't just the police in the press conference there. There were several examples of headlines describing this person as a woman. Las Vegas Review-Journal, woman planned mass shooting. Local Fox 5, woman accused of terrorism-related threats. Local NBC 11, Las Vegas woman arrested for making terroristic threats. The list goes on and on.
That ain't no woman. It's a man.
Whenever you hear a headline about a female mass shooter, just assume it's a transgender guy.
It's like when you see a headline in the UK and it's like Asian rapist. And I'm
Yeah.
like, Asian, huh? What kind of, he was Chinese? I don't think so.
I guess that's what they say over there. British people have told me, like, that's actually normal over here. We call people from Arab countries Asians.
Yeah.
All right. Anyway, now I'll give you the question that I started with earlier. If it's a tranny presenting as a woman with a woman in a relationship, is that close enough to satisfy the Subaru stereotype? I'll give you the floor with that one.
I just can't get over how much Subaru facts you seem to know. Like, I feel like you know more about Subarus than an actual lesbian owning Subaru. Or Subaru owning lesbian, I mean.
It's because of all the things that have changed in my life over the last, since 2007. I have owned and driven Subaru since 2007, so I don't like to be wrongfully smeared for my vehicle
I feel
choice.
like today that "you are gay" comment from Newbie of Death is going to say you are a lesbian.
You
Unless
are
it's already in
gay.
there.
LMAO.
Have you ever, just answer me this, have you ever actually witnessed lesbians driving a Subaru together?
Together? I mean, I've
or just
seen
individually,
I've seen
wow,
a
look at that dyke driving a Subi.
I've seen a short-haired woman who looks overly serious driving that car before. But can I prove it's a lesbian? To be fair, no.
Yeah.
But I guess next time I see one, I'll send you a picture just to prove it.
This is the most lesbian Subaru story I've ever seen, but
I feel like one episode we looked up the statistics and there was some like gay driver's website that confirmed the stereotype.
Well, but the one thing I will say, not that you can't criticize Subaru, of course you can. I think they've made a lot of questionable choices, both in the designs. Some of it is, the government's control of the car industry, which is bullshit that I don't like. Some of it is their own design choices. They've gone way too far into the electric market. Subaru, it's like the electric market failed 5 years ago. And Subaru currently is like, how about 3 more electric car designs that nobody will buy? Dude, you don't even get the tax credit anymore. And you guys are still rolling out. They released like the Trail Seeker and all these. It's like, well, I hope the trail isn't very long because you're going to end up stranded on the trail when you run out of power.
Dude,
or
they're
if the temperature
horrible for that. A buddy of mine. Yeah, go ahead.
Well, you're exactly right that if I lived in San Francisco or something and I had a strictly urban commute, there is a world in which maybe an electric car makes sense. But if you're the sort of person who actually is a trail seeker, by that I mean you're driving in rural locations where even gas stations themselves are few and far between, an electric car is an awful pick. Awful. And they're going to learn. It doesn't make any sense. Their demographic is, ironically, lesbians in San Francisco. Don't call it the Trail Seeker. Call it the Muff Seeker. And they can drive around Lombard Street.
Like, what people forget, too, is like, yes, you're saving money on gas, but you're like, I have a friend who has a Tesla, and at the supercharger, he's waiting 30 or 40 minutes.
That's the other thing, yeah.
And he makes good money where, if you look at what he makes per hour, it is actually costing him money to wait to save the money on gas. And you still have to pay for the electricity. But then the other thing is, and this goes to what you were saying about for a long-distance trip, it might be that the only charging station is 30 minutes out of the way of your trip. So you're going out of the way plus then waiting. There was one time we were driving somewhere and he was on low battery. So we're going with the charger. And the car will throttle your speed to make sure you get there. So it throttled us down to like 40 miles an hour on a highway so we could make it to it was humiliating. So
whenever I wonder why is this jackass driving 40 on the interstate, I should check to see
Elon
if it's
Musk
an
is
electric
making him do it. Yeah.
For people that wonder why does Matt love this car or this brand, no, what I love is an all-wheel drive turbocharged car with a manual transmission, and there are very few on the market, and Subaru is still putting one out after all these years. For whatever criticism you have, it's a unique and awesome driving experience. One, for the fun of the drive, but two, for winter capability and a whole bunch of practical purposes. That's why I love that car. And that's why I won't have it defamed by a bunch of would-be transgender mass shooters.
Well,
Anyway, we're at the top of the hour. I got to leave you. I don't have an endorsement deal with Subaru, by the way.
We should work on them as a sponsor.
I doubt they would be interested, but we could try it.
Yeah.
Anyway, we got to get into your low murder rate story because we're already at the top of the hour. So we're looking at record low murder rates in this country, and why is that?
Yeah, so the crime issue has been, I don't know, probably one of my top 5 issues since the COVID era or George Floyd era explosion, and that was obviously a number of factors. There was police being cut in various cities, generally very large cities that already had crime problems. There was politicians publicly denigrating police officers, and that sends a message to cops that if you are in a tough situation, the city, the politicians do not have your back, where you're going to be you're going to spend less time putting yourself in riskier situations where you can do a good thing. And there was just a back off in policing in general. In fact, it even impacted areas you would never think about. So, for instance, and Steve Saylor has had a lot of good data on this, if you look at the auto fatality rates per capita, and this is per capita in this terms is relative to miles driven by race, it was pretty much the same throughout the history of recorded data in America. If you're white, black, Hispanic, Asian, surprisingly, Spanish. I guess
I'm just appreciating this stock photo of a family who was not murdered because it's 2026.
Thank God.
But enjoying the sunset together.
The auto fatality rates were pretty much the same. Literally the month after George Floyd dies, the death rate for black people starts to surge to the point where it's actually a few thousand extra black people sort of dying per year in the years, actually literally the month after George Floyd dies, and then a few years after. And the reason why was the stereotype of driving while black is something police just didn't want to deal with. So they were far less likely to...
So there was crazy black drivers?
Well, there always have been, but they were far less likely...
I just mean that crazy black drivers were unintervened with. That's what... In addition to just like the straight up murders, there was like a crazy driver problem? Is that what you're saying?
I'll bring up the chart or something at one point. Actually, It's probably not practical. My problem being, the point being, when you stop enforcing... if you stop pulling over a race of people, their auto fatalities go up. I don't know if they consciously realize or if it's a collective consciousness kind of thing, but the point being there was a fewer black people getting pulled over. That actually led to thousands more deaths per year. In fact, more black people were killed just in those added auto fatalities in 1 year. It was far greater than the number of unarmed black people that have been killed in the U.S. every single year combined. So it was a huge effect. But that's actually just a secondary thing I was bringing up because I thought it was interesting. The murder rates were at record highs in 2020, 2021. We're now seeing a total reversal. And Scott Greer, our guest, actually had an interesting article about this where he was talking about that a lot of people on the right have been hesitant to embrace this and have kind of been blaming it on crimes being hidden or not reported. That is 100% the case with petty crime. In fact, if you're a retailer in San Francisco and a criminal is not going to get arrested for stealing, they don't get reported to police. So that actually is true in those kind of crimes. But with violent crimes, they generally get reported. And with murder, they, with the exception of the fudging of the data in D.C., they pretty much are all getting reported. We're a country where if we find a body and the autopsy says it was murder, we count it as a murder. Not all countries do that. So anyway, the fact that homicide rates are now low does not contradict the right-wing narrative because there's a lot of things that have happened since then, especially under Trump, that have lowered the rates. So just to sort of set the stage, last year was the lowest homicide rate on record. Now, on record is from the FBI's data, which goes back to 1960. The Centers for Disease Control has data going back to 1930, and that had some years in the 1950s that were lower. That being said, so far this year, we're tracking about 10% below last year. So if that does hold, and it seems like there has not been an uptick so far in this summer, this year will be the lowest murder rate in basically 100 years. I'm rounding up a little bit. So that's a pretty big improvement, obviously. Now, what are the reasons for this? Well, one is a lot of the defund the police hysteria has gone away. A lot of cities that have defunded their police have refunded them. And while they were very public about, doing the racial justice thing and defunding them, they very quietly refunded them. It's like they're doing the right thing, but know it's unpopular because their constituency is insane. But that's been good. And then another thing, too, and that hasn't been, I guess, put together, which I think is obvious, is deportations. Now, I have taken the position that we actually have no idea how many people Trump has deported. I think it's at least the 700,000 physical removals they claim, but they're claiming around 3 million total, and the remaining 2.3 or so million are claimed self-deportations, and there's just no explanation for how they're coming up with those figures. So I'm not, I want them to be true, but unless you can show me how you're getting those, I don't believe
there's got to be at least like 1 million would-be illegal immigrant truck driver fatalities that we've averted by deporting people, I would think. So that's going to lower the death rate and the murder rate right there.
But so let's just say, though, that it's 1 million, which is disappointingly low, but I think it's a conservative estimate. We're taking the 700,000 we know happened and then a few 100,000 from the remainder. If 1% of them are criminals and they just happen to only commit one crime per year, that's still 10,000 crimes. And it's probably far more than 1%. And I actually don't care if they're really all criminals or not. I don't want them here regardless. But the point being that it's going to add up, and they're going to be obviously crimes are a very concentrated problem. So they're going to the average illegal alien criminal is probably committing a crime every day or every week, and that whole ripple effect is now gone. So I think it's a very big part of it. But then also there's the secondary fact in that if there's a law enforcement surge into an area to combat illegal immigration, it still has the crime deterrent effect of having cops on the street. In that, yes, they're there for an illegal alien, but gang violence is probably not going to pop off while there's that much law enforcement. And we see this happen too in places like DC, where it was not, there was a surge of law enforcement there, not just for immigration, but for general beautification, crime. And DC, I think the first 2 weeks and change was the longest period the city had ever gone without a murder. And we're seeing this really anywhere there's a surge. Now, it's to the point where the left doesn't even deny this. In fact, Mamdani is trying to claim credit for New York City's homicides falling. Governor Newsom in California is trying to claim credit for California's murder rate being at all-time lows. But it's a nationwide trend that their policies are actually in stark contrast of, and they're trying to take credit from the policies of the guy they think is Hitler.
What about, I know you're talking about murder specifically, but when in the context of a dropping death rate, which is also true, when you talk about immigration, another thing not to overlook is fentanyl. And I was looking at this with the story I was talking about a couple of weeks ago with that, the DEA whistleblower who's saying, hey man, under Biden, we did fentanyl fast and furious. We let fentanyl walk. We watched it change hands in Albuquerque on a mass scale. We didn't intervene thinking we'd go find the source of it. But as a result, a bunch of fentanyl was coming into the country and definitely killed a lot of people, whether it was like intentional DEA ops or just border indifference that we saw under Biden. The quantity of fentanyl coming into this country put fentanyl deaths to the highest level in our history. And those are coming back down to earth. Of course, we're still talking about some 70,000 people dying of fentanyl overdoses in this country in 2025. It's still a massive problem, but it was you look at 2022, it was over 108,000 people. That I think of the size of that's the biggest city in Montana, roughly, is 108,000 people all dead in a year from fentanyl. That's a major factor in a declining death rate too, which is different from murder, but I just wanted to emphasize that point because those numbers are gigantic.
Oh, actually, someone in the chat actually made a point I wanted to address because it's actually a very important one. So he was asking, like, well, what about violent assaults too? Because, you know, couldn't better medical treatment play a role in this? And actually, medical treatment is playing a role in this. So violent assaults are also down, which is how we know it's not just better medical treatment. But yes, if you were comparing like the 60s to today, we have gotten a hell of a lot better at treating bullet wounds over that time period. In Scott Greer's article that I had referenced, he argued that from the 80s onward, the improvements haven't been significant enough to be affecting the murder rate. But that obviously is something that plays a role in murder rates nationwide, especially when you're comparing one country to another. And like, yeah, if you're a remote country where the closest hospital is hundreds of miles away, even if the attempted murder rate is the same as a wealthy country, that, you know, remote country is going to have more murder rates just for that reason, that you can't, you know, treat them fast enough or something. So yes, that is also a variable to be cognizant of, but he does argue that, well, from the 80s to today, it's not really playing a role. But if you were to compare over a much larger time frame, it is something you'd have to factor in.
Thank you for your contributions.
My pleasure.
We got to get to Super Chat. Before we do, hey, have you considered joining the MC Club? Well, you should. Here's why.
Hey, if you enjoy the show, please consider supporting the show by becoming a member of the MC Club. For as little as $1 a month, you will enjoy a series of exclusive perks, including ad-free videos and podcasts, video calls, and a community Discord server with me and other listeners, loot box giveaways with channel merchandise, your name in the credit roll after videos and streams, and much more. But most importantly, you will help keep the duct tape production alive and independent from all those sinister forces of control. Join the MC Club at mattchristiansenmedia.com/support. Linked in the description.
Okay, our Super Chat aggregator is indeed screwed up. So I have YouTube and Tippy. You will be able to help with Rumble. So you want to start on Rumble, and then we'll move to YouTube and Tippy. First up, I have Newbie, who does indeed say, Newbie of Death, if you read this.
You are gay, LMAO.
Thank you, Newbie.
I see on Rumble one from Laughing Boy, and I know there's more comments.
There are. So why don't you get Laughing Boy, and I'll read the other ones.
He says, fentanyl deaths are dropping because Narcan is almost an over-the-counter drug now. In fact, you could even be given it from charities. That probably is playing a role as well, yeah.
I'm sure that is a big factor. But I do believe the trafficking on the border is down.
Yeah, it's less coming in, but also we're getting better at treating it when it does happen. It's definitely both factors. I have heard stories, though, and I didn't know this, but I guess when someone is overdosing on fentanyl, from their perspective, apparently it feels awesome. It's like the best high ever. And when you give them Narcan, it kills the high. So I've seen videos where like they're saving a guy's life, and then the guy who's ODing like gets pissed off and starts attacking them for killing their high.
That's the George Floyd story.
Yeah,
he was mad at Chauvin for exactly that.
Yeah. Crazy stuff.
Yakko, 1977. I just saw the movie Young George Washington. It's not a documentary, but it was entertaining. It depicts his early mistakes and what he learned from them to make a better commander. 4 out of 5. Well, I don't have wish I had the old movie review button.
It looks good from what I saw.
Is it just okay? So it just came out. This is a new thing.
It was put up by Angel Studios, which is like. It's like a Christian movie studio, but like the highest of quality that has ever existed for a Christian movie studio. They did that show, The Chosen, I believe, or at least distributed it. But they have a lot of like really high quality, Christian kind of media and center right leaning media. Also, there's a lot of lightning outside, so if I drop off, I lost power, but I'll hopefully come back in.
Well,
shortly.
Good news is we're about to go to a guest segment, so maybe you'll have time to lose power and regain it in the interim. Stop the Hammering 213-817. How gay is gay? Go to mattis.gay to find out, or go to his OnlyFans page. Username Matt is so very, very gay. Well,
false.
The website is real and it is safe for work, at least as safe for work as my content is. You can go to mattis.gay and get all the best, maybe not the best, but some highly regarded, highly respected news and political analysis, including that from the highly regarded author, Matt Palumbo. Mattis.gay is safe in that. I don't have an OnlyFans page, though. That's made up. But I will allow it for the sake of entertainment, I guess. Thank you, Stop the Hammering. The Great Negro He has a joint that is expanding. That's what Negro is in this case. 2021. Vehicles are mobile. Use them. You can't introduce lethal force to regular force and claim self-defense. You need to leave a working car. No need to leave a working car with a gun in hand. Also, assume the gun is real and loaded. It is a very messy case. So as far as I understand, your explanation of the sequence there is correct, that there's some sort of argument where she's in the car. Guy leaves the scene after blocking the parking spot. They're arguing about the parking spot. She then parks there, exits the vehicle with gun in hand. At least we can see that.
Well, that's
and
not
then
good for her.
When he, but you, well, I don't know what Florida law has to say about this, but generally speaking,
it's a bit coming on hot, I think.
It's not. I don't think there's any assault case for just having a gun in hand. Now, if you're kind of brandishing it at a guy, but if you're just carrying it in hand, now I wouldn't advise it. I don't think it's a wise thing to do. I don't think it's a good thing to do because people might interpret it wrongly. But simply, I guess what I'm saying is, if you were to say that just the possession of a gun in the open would implicate the concept of open carry, and I don't think that that's correct. If you start pointing it, you are presenting a threat to somebody else. But again, who the primary aggressor is in this case depends a lot on what was said. And I need to see the exact sequence too. Like the point happened. I should go back. Maybe it's in the video more. Maybe it is clearly in there. I'd have to review it again. The point happens. Does his advance happen and then the point, or is it point and then his advance? That I'm not clear.
I thought it was point in advance. I know it's bad news when I can't remember what we were talking about 30 minutes ago. But
I do know that guy.
Or if it watched
again,
me, but
the argument happened. He left the scene. She talks to somebody else, and he returns.
Mm-hmm.
So this is a guy who had many opportunities to leave, and I get it. You don't have I'm not saying he has an obligation to retreat. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying just as a responsible, reasonable person, he had many opportunities to just go, I don't give a shit, and walk away. And he chose not to do that repeatedly. The law, how this is adjudicated in the law is going to be complicated. In terms of wisdom, dumb. Don't need to do that. Don't do that.
His life could have been saved if he watched the N-word moment sketch from Boondocks. Wait a second. I'm white. Walk away. That's all you got to do.
Hottie Twerkman, that's right. I forgot about that one. Yeah. Even if the would-be Vegas shooter's girlfriend doesn't identify as a lesbian, doesn't mean you wouldn't identify her as a lesbian.
I thought he was going to say it wouldn't mean you wouldn't be identified as a lesbian.
I don't know.
That.
I have no idea. There's again, this is complexities in the Florida parking lot shooting, complexities in the Vegas transgender would-be mass shooter. Difficult things to navigate. Thank you, Hottie Twerkman. Laughing Boy, we got that one. Thank you, Laughing Boy. Okay, so I'm going to move over to YouTube. Let's see. VV says, what's ironic about black identitarians? By overplaying their hand with make-believe inventions, so like all the black chick inventions that Jasmine Crockett was talking about, and other quote-unquote accomplishments, they're spitting on their ancestors' legacy by enabling everyone to treat them with justified contempt. Yeah, I mean, it's like... it is reasonable to talk about the history of black women in this country, but they can't do it without like overstating, lying, making up nonsense. As a general rule, I just sort of hate. It's not that I hate demographic specific history. It's that it's used as a weapon. You know what I mean? Like we're talking about black women's history. It's not presented as though they're going to say like, oh, it's ignored and all this bullshit. It is. All right. Everyone learned about Harriet Tubman growing up. Okay.
Everyone wasn't even real, by the way.
She was not real.
John Doyle covered this. It was all bullshit. Yeah.
Harriet Tubman's not a real person.
The whole story was bullshit. Yeah.
So
I'm not kidding.
The
John
story
Doyle
of the Underground Railroad was bullshit, or that she was not a real person.
I think it was actually. I can't remember if he was arguing it was embellished. The story was embellished or the person, but it's at least one of them.
But if that's true, if there's embellishment there, again, is it because we actually care about historical accuracy and being complete in our historical analysis? No, we like to select specific demographics historically to browbeat people in modern day for political purposes. That's why it's annoying. Yeah. Now I'm going to have to look this up.
It's worth watching during the break for us, but
I haven't seen that.
Yeah. Yeah. No, most like gender or racial specific history is either made up or they do this thing where, like, you know, a white guy will invent, like, you know, a rocket ship, and then they'll be like, but did you know a black guy brought him coffee, and without that coffee, his brain would not operate at its full potential. Like, they do that tangential shit.
I was reading a lot of these. Now, I don't know anything about these alleged claims of invention, so take it with a grain of salt, but there's a lot of, like, early work contributed to the development of caller ID and call waiting. Like, what was your early work? Did you write in a journal? Like, wouldn't it be cool if a phone rang, but it told you who it was? Does that, what is the early work that contributed? Because if it was as simple as invented caller ID and call waiting, you would just write that, but they don't. They say early work contributed to.
I've even seen, like, Winsome Sears share these black invention claims that are totally messed up. Like, everyone loves them on their, very bizarre.
Joshy Boy says, sorry, but the dude should have just walked away.
Bingo.
Yeah. Doesn't mean he deserved to die, but he should have just walked away, yeah.
He did it several times. That's what's baffling. Is he wasn't just, like, pissed off in the moment and took the wrong step, which I can kind of understand. You know, like, you're really angry about whatever parking lot dispute. You take the wrong step, you shouldn't die. But when you've successfully removed yourself from the situation, now that's maybe, I don't know, maybe I should think about this another way, because as longtime listeners of this show may recall, there was one time where I was walking out of Safeway here in Bozeman, the grocery store, with my wife and kid, and a crazy woman driver was driving through, you know, you got your parking lot and then the it's not a street, but, you know, the roadway where cars pass in front of the grocery store. And she blew through there. I'm not kidding. Must have been like 40 miles an hour. And missed the cart, which had my then 1-year-old son in it, by a foot or two. I mean, it was that close to my son, my very young son, being splattered across the parking lot. And so she drove to the other side of the parking lot, and I did yell at her, slow down.
Oh, yeah.
And then she started getting chippy. She started yapping. All right. Okay.
Have you ever had that
rage? But I walked toward her, okay?
Yeah.
She stayed in her car, but I walked toward her, and I remained calm, and I did tell her that you nearly hit the cart with my young son. She tried to give me some bullshit about how I need to watch where I'm going, even though vehicles must always yield to pedestrians, but especially in a parking lot, you insane, crazy lady. It did get, like, I would say like a quarter to 50% heated, but maybe a similar situation where I'm a larger man approaching a woman who has done some bullshit to me and my family. I don't think I was unjustified in going to have a conversation with her. And if I had been shot dead in that similar situation, I suppose the same thing would have been said. Well, Matt, you had the opportunity to walk away and you didn't.
Yeah. Have you ever gotten to that level of, like, righteous anger where you feel like you're out of your body watching yourself yell at the person?
I don't know about that, but I felt compelled to go talk to her. And the reason I felt compelled to go talk to her is I didn't actually get enraged and yelling, but I did tell her, like, you were very close to killing a young child. And if you don't think about that, you're going to do that. You're going to hit a cart with a kid in it and kill him and ruin a family. So please think about that. And it was my fault. It was my fault for taking the wrong step in a parking lot, you know?
Did you ever think about, like, taking pictures of her license plates and then maybe just doxing her to ruin her life?
No, I did not.
No?
I just called her a stupid bitch and she drove away. I don't know if I even called her a name. I don't remember. I don't think I did. No, that's true. I think I called her a fucking psycho because she told me it was my fault. And she said, oh, nice to see we're being civil. I was like, civil? We're talking about civility when you almost killed my kid in a parking lot? She was a fucking psycho. Anyway, but I guess, I mean, I should think critically about that. Was that the right thing for me? Should I have just walked away? I don't know. That lady took off and hopefully she never did that again.
Yeah.
But street pain. I wonder if she said, walk towards me, see what happens. Okay, that could be another, like a Carmelo Anthony thing.
Yeah.
Hey, why don't you come make me? Why don't you come touch me? See what happens. Could be. I do think the words that were exchanged between them are significant in evaluating who's responsible here.
I mean, it obviously pains me to be taking this position given the demographics if the party's involved, but I'm trying to be objective here.
I don't, on Wednesday, we had an email question.
Yeah.
And someone responded to something you were saying about, like I would be a Democrat in 1840, like the joke
100%,
being that you would be a slave master or something.
I mean, it's just a dumb joke, but
did they take it seriously? The emailer said, the question was, what do you think an 1840s racist would think about A and B? That's not really relevant. He said, I was thinking about what Matt said. And by the way, I'm not calling Matt racist. And I thought, well, he's so disappointed. He hasn't earned that
whatever
right.
You want. It's fine. I just joked I'm a slave owner. You're fine to say that.
I just couldn't believe that they
think I'm highly regarded.
Right. They didn't give you your due credit.
Yeah.
Thank you to that emailer. Roger Wood, you cannot be the creator or contributor to your deadly threat event. Brandishing and aggravated assault diminishes claims to lawful self-defense. Yeah. So in this case, you're saying the black woman created the confrontation by brandishing the gun. Could be. Could also be the case that there was some sort of fight between them. Guy says something that is threatening, leaves, comes back, advances on her. I can see a situation in which she is the unreasonable one and not justified in the shoot. I just don't understand. And maybe there's a piece that's going to connect it. To me, it's the return. It's advancing on her while she's trying to leave, and then it's leaving and then coming back again. I can't understand the second dip.
He behaved the way I would expect her to. It's the crazy part of it.
It was very Shaniqua of him.
God is testing me as we speak.
So maybe there is a missing thing that helps me understand that return, because that's what I'm really struggling to see. Alexander Stoker, happy 250th. Thank you guys, or love you guys, and God bless you.
We love you. You're very special.
Thank you. Newbie of Death Review, he's over here as well. What about the ironic pic of the black girl on the train with the white supremacists?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, that was Patriot Front. And I don't have the photo handy.
The safest she's ever been.
Yeah, the greatest. It's a black woman surrounded by masked white supremacists. If true, and I know people think they're feds or maybe they're not real, whatever. We were talking about that before live. Let's say it's totally legit, though. They're a bunch of actual, racist, white supremacist people, whatever. The takeaway is that this woman sat next to them on a train safely and was never actually in any danger at all.
I would bet, given how, if people have seen the picture, what I mean, I would not be surprised if one of them gave up their seat for her. Because unless she boarded at the exact same time or somehow ahead of them all, that's the only way she would have gotten that seat, given that they were seated before, behind her, in front of her, to the side, everywhere else. So, also, here's the thing. The most racist white guy in America loves Clarence Thomas. So, how racist is he really,
Wait, what? Who?
The most racist white guy in this country probably loves Clarence Thomas.
I thought you were referencing a specific person.
Oh, no.
It's just whoever that may be.
Whoever that, it's in the eye of the beholder.
The black chick Ben Franklin of white supremacists, the best one out there, he loves Clarence.
Probably. Yeah. Which means even the most racist guy is not really 100% committed to the bit. So.
K. Burke. Carmelo Anquini. So this is an attempt to name the black chick. Carmelo Anquini, I think. There's maybe a Carmelo Anthony play on words for her. Or maybe you're talking about the guy. I don't know. I assume you're talking about her, but I don't know. I didn't think about nicknames for the people. And frankly, I not that you can't, I just hesitate to do it before we know definitively who's at fault here. You start making jokes about a dead guy who actually didn't deserve it. That's not great. You start making jokes about a woman who actually had to take a justified shoot. That's not great. I just don't want to be knee-jerk about my approach to this one, because I'm just very curious to see how this is going to play out in court. If you put that as presented so far in media to me on a jury, if I was a juror and I had to evaluate, do I think that it was a justified shoot if the standard is reasonable fear of death or great bodily harm? For the reasons you described, that I would rather be more protective of the right to self-defense than too restrictive, I would have to side with the woman taking the shot, though I don't think that she's did everything great either. She also could have left at any point and did not. Again, not that you must run away. Well, maybe not, though, because at the same time, she did back up. She did move away from him, and he kept advancing, which contributes, I think, to her claim of fear.
It's kind of repeating what I said earlier. Like, if we were on 1,000 juries for a self-defense case, this might be one of the 10 where we go, kind of sucks we have to rule this way, but it's better than the alternative where, people have to wait till they're getting their eyes clawed out to take a shot. Like, and I'm repeating myself from the beginning of the show, but some people might have missed this, but I think people would resonate with this. If your wife was in a confrontation, ignoring all prior context, and there's a situation where she has a gun pointed at someone and that person advances, you really don't want them waiting. So, at all. So, I guess I have to try to at least be kind of consistent here in my reasoning. Anyway, we do have a comment from Orthodox Christian.
I was going to say,
that says we missed the chat.
Oh, did I? Sorry. That's not very racist of you at all. You do have to earn it, is what I was going to say. Sorry, you're right. I did.
Hey,
I saw VV and I jumped. It do be like that, Mr. Stansel or Mr. Palumbo. It do be like that indeed. Sorry, I saw VV and I skipped too ahead. Thank you, Orthodox Christian Andrew. I'm sorry I missed it. If Qui-Gon Jinn isn't your favorite Jedi, you are gay. LMAO.
You are gay. LMAO.
And he paid to tell us that we had to get his chat. That's devotion.
Oh, he came back with another chat.
Yeah,
If I apologize for missing it, Orthodox Christian Andrew. If you want a refund on one of those chats, you just send me an email. We'll get that taken
No,
care
it was
of.
the second chat was just the one saying we missed it, is what I mean.
That's what I'm saying. That's really one chat. So if I ever miss a chat and people want to, I do refunds. So just email me. We'll arrange. But as far as Star Wars lore, like the entirety of the Darth Vader story arc is all Qui-Gon's fault. If he would have just stabbed that little bitch in the chest with his green lightsaber, all of that stress could have been avoided, Qui-Gon. If you would just listen to the Jedi Council that Anakin Skywalker is a little bitch, we wouldn't have had to go through all of this. The argument that Qui-Gon is the favorite, Qui-Gon, I think, is terrible. It's all his fault. The whole thing is Qui-Gon's fault. So
Nerd.
I invite the... Do you have the pro Qui-Gon case?
I don't even know who that is, man.
Well, all right.
Sorry.
Congratulations on having things to do. Okay.
No, it's I don't have things to do and I don't know. It's work.
Thank you, Orthodox Christian. If you want to email me the pro Qui-Gon case, I will listen. I assume I've overlooked something. VV, Moldy Locks. That's a blast from the past. I was reminded of Moldy Locks because of our AI video creator, Kevin L. He included Moldy Locks in the LaDonna Rice and Rage music video, which reminded me of Moldy Locks, so she's been on my mind. But speaking of Kevin L., if you guys missed the show on Wednesday, go back. You'll find it timestamped. Kevin L., it was Joshy Boy's last show. He's taking a break. He's doing some stuff with his personal life, including taking his faith more seriously, so we wish him well.
Awesome.
But Kevin L. sent in a AI-created anime of Joshy Boy as the property defender. He joined the league of squatter removers in California who are armed with samurai swords. And this AI anime of Joshy Boy as a squatter remover is A+. So we appreciate Kevin L's work. But I am behind, so...
I'll have to just circle back with you.
Thank you guys for your super chats and your support for the show. We will come back to those chats at the end, but we need to get to our guest segment. Our guest tonight is highly respected author Scott Greer. His new book is Whitepill, The Online Right and the Making of Trump's America. If you're feeling down about Trump's second term or conservatism more broadly, Scott has some points of optimism for your consideration. We get into the book, some articles he wrote that were published and then deleted in the Washington Post, and much more. Segment's about 25 minutes. See you on the other side.
Stand back and stand by.
Welcome back. Our guest tonight is highly respected author Scott Greer. The new book is Whitepill, The Online Right and the Making of Trump's America. Available for order now. You can find Scott at highly-respected.com. Scott, thanks for making time.
Thanks for having me on. Great to be here.
So let's start with the book. What is the white pill and why should we be taking it?
The white pill, for those who might not be aware of all these colored pills, you might have a lot of these in your medicine cabinet, but I think most of your audience should be familiar with the red pill, which the red pill is coming to realize certain truths about reality that have been denied to you by the mainstream media and your public school teachers. So you take the red pill. The blue pill is believing all that. That's, thinking that, Black Lives Matter is important, that immigration is what makes America strong. That's blue pill. You can see that among a lot of liberals. They would be blue pilled. And the black pill is that all hope is gone. It's hopeless. You're depressed. Everything is terrible. We are black pilled. Nothing can be saved. But the white pill is a boost of optimism. It's saying that actually things can get better and actually we can turn things around and we can win. And the book tries to offer a white pill to right wingers and conservatives who, for various reasons, think that we might be on the wrong course, that there has been no improvement over the last 10 years. And I tell a story about how conservatism went from being dominated by the types of Paul Ryan and Mike Pence and Jonah Goldberg to what it is today, where it's focusing on the real issues. It's much more combative. It's much more effective than it was 10, 15 years ago. And it's much more interested in the issues that reflect the civilizational threats, or addresses the civilizational threats that we face today. And those improvements and those changes I document in my book, and how conservatism has transformed in Trump's America. So that is the white pill I offer to readers in my book.
I think a lot of that is contrary to some conventional wisdom, too. I think a lot of people think that conservatism has lost ground over the last decade, that it has been a sequence of concessions to progressive politics that are winning. And frankly, I feel like I've seen a lot of that in many ways. But what are some specific examples where you think conservatism has really gained ground, or what used to be maybe fringe or online is now a common issue or a common position?
Most obvious example is immigration restriction. When I first got involved in politics full time in 2013, it was dangerous to even be opposed to illegal immigration. I knew a story of a guy who made a tweet. This is back when no one was paying that much attention to Twitter. It maybe got like one like. He said, like, I don't like illegal immigrants. And he got brought into his office, and he worked at like a conservative nonprofit, conservative think tank of some sort. And they screamed at him, if you make a similar comment like this again, you're no longer going to work here. And this is about illegal immigration, not legal. So legal immigration restriction is now a mainstream issue. Ron DeSantis is now calling for the repeal of the Hart-Celler Act. And 16 congressmen, along with one senator, have drafted a bill to formally repeal the Hart-Celler Act and significantly restrict and reduce legal immigration to America. And so that has been a massive difference. And this wasn't even an issue discussed in the pre-Trump era. The best you could hope for is for Republicans to oppose illegal immigration. And even then, they weren't that good on it, because after the 2012 election, the big idea for Republicans was, we need to get amnesty. There's all these Hispanics and immigrants here, and they're not voting for us. And the only way we can do that is to legalize at least 11 million illegal immigrants. It'd probably be over 20 million or even more than that would have been illegalized. And this was the big idea in 2013. This was the big idea in the pre-Trump era, was amnesty. And now you see Republicans frightened of even addressing the idea of amnesty. We still have a few Republicans that do this, but it's not a popular idea within conservatism. And within the conservative movement, you cannot be a conservative commentator and publicly champion more immigration. Pretty much every conservative commentator and conservative media outlets are fervently against mass immigration and want it reduced. And so that's been a dramatic change within conservatism. And even in this administration, some people might say, oh, well, that's just rhetoric. No, this administration is doing more to reduce this immigration since Calvin Coolidge, who passed and signed into law the 1924 Immigration Act. No other administration since then has done as much on illegal immigration than the current Trump administration. We have hardly any refugees coming in. The only refugees we're taking in are white Afrikaners, which would have been unthinkable 10 years ago. So these are the type of changes we're seeing. There's a lot of other issues that my book doesn't fully address because it's mostly concerned with the identity issues around immigration, anti-white racism, anti-American history, or battles over American history and identity, more than things like gun rights, abortion. But you've seen tremendous gains for conservatives than you would have seen in the past.
If that's the case, and there's a lot of progress made, and I think certainly on those issues, you can point to a lot of reasons why there has been progress made, or at least conservative progress, not progressive progress, but you get what I mean. Why do you think so many on what used to be called the alt-right, the dissident right, the non-mainstream right, have a lot of disappointment with the current administration? Are they wrong, or are they looking at something else?
Well, some reasons that they're upset is that they have themselves not been brought along with this momentum and progress. As a lot of the people who were around back in the day have been left behind for various reasons. Maybe they went in a different path, or they're too extreme, too radical, so they're not brought along with the momentum. That's one reason. Another reason is that some of these people just got red-pilled, as we explained earlier, over the last few years, and they're not aware of all this history, and they're not aware of what things were like 10, 20 years ago. And they imagine that Republicans and conservatives are discussing these issues and claiming they're going to do something about it for aeons. And that's not true. And there are also some is that they're not reaching full perfection, is that they want, it to be super based and red-pilled, and it's not based and red-pilled enough. It's still too conservative or traditionally conservative for their taste. That might be all the reason. But there's other things that, independent of politics, the culture has changed a lot over the last 20 years. Now, we're not in the age of peak woke anymore. It's far easier to come into contact with right-wing ideas than it was in the past. It's far easier to avoid Pride Month celebrations than it was 5 years ago, not 20 years ago, of course, but 5 years ago. And there's some other improvements as well going in the country there's more free expression, more free speech, less censorship than there would have been in the recent past. But there's still problems within the culture. If they go outside, they see a lot more immigrants at their local Costco. They see, certain social trends that they don't like, and that makes them very black-pilled. So I think that it's maybe going outside and seeing the culture as itself, and then wondering why there hasn't been an immediate political solution to this, rather than understanding that a lot of the political battles take years and years of development. It's not just solved overnight. Even going to the gun rights issue, it wasn't just like a day that, boom, we've now got the type of gun rights we have today compared to the 90s. No, it took a long time, lots of efforts, lots of political battles to change. And this is going to be the fact for any type of political transformation, is that it's not just going to happen overnight. It's not just going to happen in 1 year. It's not even going to happen with just one administration. It's going to take decades of effort to make those significant changes that you want. Even if you look on the other side with the gay marriage, liberals didn't just simply accomplish that overnight, where it's like one day they come up with the idea, and then boom, the next day it's fully legal in the country. They spent years and years gaining support, getting the courts, convincing the courts and higher powers to legalize gay marriage throughout the country. It took them a long time to get to the point where it's fully legal throughout the country. You don't just propose these ideas and then expect them to the next day to be accomplished. It's going to take a long time for these things to be at the level we like, and it's going to take a long battle for that. And you got to be prepared for the battle rather than blackpilling at the first sign of opposition.
Matt, did you have any other questions about the book?
Well, I guess I'm kind of commenting on what you said about people being new to politics for a few years and not understanding the process. And I've been seeing Ashley St. Clair, her, attempted redemption tour. And I get the impression from, her and people in that kind of orbit that politics to them is really just a social club. It's and yes, funny memes and ideas may be the common cause, but they don't actually understand that, the process stuff, anything at all. So I guess that's just a general observation on that. But one question I have, and it's not related to the book, but I see on your X, you talk a lot about the Greerhead Pledge. Can you explain the Greerhead Pledge?
Yeah, the Greerhead Pledge is a path to improving your life, and it's 4 easy steps to do that. And so I think that there's a lot of cultural things you should avoid right now in our country, in our society. So I recommend people to not smoke weed, to not watch Marvel movies, to not listen to rap, and to not get tattoos. Now, with the tattoos, a lot of people already have tattoos, but it's more of we're not getting any more tattoos if you already have them. Now, if you're covered head to foot in tattoos, well, I don't know what more you can get. I mean, if you walk outside today, you'll see people with like full neck and sleeve tattoos. You're like, well, don't get any more if you've taken the Greerhead Pledge. But it's a path to bringing back a better form of America and American culture rather than what we have today. And Marvel represents a lot of the Reddit and soy aspects of our culture that have taken over and made films just unwatchable. A lot of these big blockbusters. Weed, if you go out, you smell it all the time. It turns people into slugs. They're not productive. And then they want to demand about how weed is the most important thing in their life. Rap music, even though that's declining in popularity, it's still the ubiquity of it is a bit too much. And there is too many tattoos. There are too many tattoos in our society. Is that people, if we just had people having like 1 or 2 and they weren't visible, that would be one thing. But you go outside and you're like, why are you having a full sleeve and you work in an office? But we want to have a better America. And so these are the 4 steps to achieving that under the Greerhead Pledge. But one other thing I want to say, that to go back to the other Matt's points about why people are upset, and to your point of adding on to that, is that a lot of our audience are people who are turned to alternative media. They're making an extra effort for this news, and they also think that there's something deeply wrong going on in the world, which I think a lot of them have legitimate reasons for that. And if they're turning to their favorite influencers and podcasters, and they're telling them everything's going awesome, everything rocks, that's not what the audience wants to hear. That's turning to alternative and independent media. They want to hear that everything sucks and how everything's bad. And I think that's what's pushing some of these influencers to talk about how the Trump administration is the worst administration ever, because they get a larger audience for that, and that's what their audience wants to hear. And a lot of their audience isn't even America-based anymore. It's a lot of it's international and foreign, and they don't want to hear about how awesome Trump is or the good things the administration is doing. They generally want more negativity. So it's harder for political commentary to be more positive. People always complain, is like, why aren't you talking about the positive things? Well, if we talk more about the positive things, you would tune in. People want to hear disaster, apocalypse on the horizon. They don't want to hear about, things are improving. It's a harder sell for the audience.
What do you make of the state of the Trump coalition? Of course, Trump was able to win in 24 by bringing together a lot of people who don't really traditionally fit the conservative mold. You've got a lot of those libertarians you were talking about, people who love Marvel movies and weed and tattoos and maybe vote for Trump. You got disaffected Democrats or liberals, kind of the RFK, Tulsi type. A lot of those people right now, I think, are some of the most dissatisfied. Do you think that the coalition is in good shape? Will those people come back? How do you assess the state of that coalition heading into 28?
Well, the coalition comes at 2 levels. There's, for lack of a better term, there's an elite level where you have certain personalities, prominent personalities, influencers. It's not a good state there, and for a lot of different reasons. For Iran war was very deeply unpopular. You've had a lot of these broadcasters turn on Trump, but with the broadcasters, that's even more at the voter level, the actual voters who are turning out. And Trump got a lot of young men to vote for him because they were sick of woke, and he represented the anti-woke candidate. That's mainly it. But now that woke is, out of their minds. They don't having to worry about that. And maybe the economic situation hasn't improved dramatically since Biden left office. They've turned on Trump. And a lot of their favorite influencers, the broadcasters, have turned on Trump long ago. They were upset when he started doing the ICE raids. It wasn't simply Epstein or the Iran war that made them turn on Trump. It was first the ICE raids, which for a lot of the right-wingers who were upset with Trump, that's one of the things that they liked about Trump or wanted more of. But for these broadcasters who have some influence over independents and certainly influence over young men, they turned against Trump over the ICE raids. And then there's been more and more issues that they've soured on Trump over the handling of the Epstein files, the Iran war situation, and that. And so the coalition, I think, on both levels has lost some of the people they attracted. Is that Trump was able to win a lot of young men, he was able to win a lot of independents, he was able to win a remarkable number of Hispanics, but some of these people have left due to the economic situation, ICE raids, and the Iran war. I think one thing that's helped Trump is that ending the Iran war has helped the coalition at both the elite and ground level. Is that a lot of those people who have been calling for Trump's impeachment over the Iran war should come back or be more appreciative of Trump. Whether they will or not, that's another matter. But I think people at the ground level who have been turning on Trump because of higher gas prices over a war that they're not sure why we're fighting will go along more with it. Which is funny, you're now seeing that all these neocons who joined the Trump administration after he won the election, they probably weren't voting for him even in 2024. They're the crucial, I didn't vote for Trump 3-time voters. There's all these people who are like, I voted for Trump 3 times and he's betrayed me. These are the people like, I did not vote for Trump 3 times and he's betrayed me. This is that crucial demographic of voters. And now they're trying to take all these lines we've seen from Iran war critics of like, the masses are so upset he's ended this very popular war. They're wanting J.D. Vance impeached over this peace deal. And they're trying to rile up people. But I think they only have influence over a few hundred people in New York City and D.C., which we're not competing in New York City and D.C. anytime soon or at any time in the future. So, they're using all these threats that we've been seeing from online, right, and from people, Rumble influencers who are critical of the war. Now they're using it for their own side, which makes which was already ridiculous to a degree with the Rumble influencers. But now, I apologize to. We love Rumble, but we don't have a better term besides Rumble.
I was wondering why Rumble's catching strays here. What's the difference? Why are the Rumble guys
We're
different?
Not attacking Rumble, but there's not a better term for it. I don't like use. Some people say retard right. That's a little too mean.
I like retard right.
I usually say Rumble right, but we love Rumble. But I'm just saying that those arguments are now being repurposed by Commentary Magazine, Jonah Goldberg, John Podhoretz, and these guys have never liked Trump, but they like the Iran war. So it's very funny to see these arguments now repurposed for the other side. But I think the coalition has problems. But I think if he was going to have problems keeping this coalition together with the type of agenda he wanted. And some of the coalition fell apart by him implementing the agenda he promised, like the ICE raids, mass deportations, and lowering immigration. Some of the stuff, Iran war, foreign policy, that wasn't a part of what he campaigned on, but he was already losing some of these voters by doing things he had promised. Even Liberation Day, the tariffs were also very unpopular. And he has been campaigning on that since the 80s. Or he wasn't even campaigning on it. Before he even entered in politics, he was supporting this idea.
I saw recently, and sorry if I'm getting ahead of you, Matt, but I saw recently you got canceled by the Washington Post.
Oh, that's right.
How did you get that gig in the first place? Was my main question. Like, what transpired there?
I'm not sure how I got the gig. What they did is they reposted 2 columns I wrote for the American Conservative. And I think Washington Post has some type of deal with the American Conservative to repost articles. And they have this new aggregator called The Ringer, which takes columns from around the internet. It's similar to Real Clear Politics, a couple of other places that like to highlight columns they think that their readers would like. And they apparently liked my columns and they reposted 2 of them. I didn't even know that they had reposted the first one until Politico reported they had taken it down. And I didn't even realize they had even reposted me in the first place until Politico asked me about it. They're like, "You're on the Washington Post today. What is your comment about this?" It's like, I'm on the Washington Post today? I didn't know this. But I wasn't in the actual paper. I was reposted by their aggregator called The Ringer, but it's still technically I was reposted by the Washington Post. So how I got that gig or why they picked it up, I'm not fully sure of it, but then they took down the articles because I'm too right-wing for the Washington Post, apparently.
I did like in Politico when they quoted you as saying, like, the woke mob strikes again, and they didn't realize you were being ironic.
Yeah, oh yeah, no, there's all these posts. It's like he's saying they succumb to the woke mob, and they have the all caps, I think, in there. So
yeah,
it should be clear that it's obvious. A bit ironic. Well, they left out my whole quote because I used my whole quote to promote my book. I was like, as you could read in Whitepill, you can learn all about this story in Whitepill. And they took out all references to Whitepill in my quote.
Very lame. Wouldn't even give you the courtesy. That's that's rough.
At all.
Matt, I know you had some questions about the origin of certain X descriptions as well. I want to leave time for that.
Well, I know the origin, but I think people will think the story is funny.
Okay.
You're not, on social media, you're not Scott Greer. You're Scott Greer, 6'2" tall, IQ of 187.
Right.
My favorite part is when people take this at face value, but then try to discredit you on some other thing. They'll be like, well, I don't get how a guy who was 187 IQ believes X, Y, and Z, and they never put two and two together and realize it's a joke. So do you want to explain the origins of this? It's very funny.
Well, most of the time they're saying you're missing a decimal point. It's 18.7 is your IQ. That's generally the usual one they have. But the origin story is actually a long time ago. It's 6 years ago. AOC made some stupid speech in Congress. This is like August 2020. I can't even remember what subject it was, but it was really obnoxious. And I remember in 2020, if you ever criticize AOC, I got like a whole trove of people angry at me. Even the banner pic I have of like people questioning my IQ and height, I think I'm not sure if that's from when I made a joke about Lauren Boebert being a model for young women, or if it's from another time where I criticized AOC from going off on the Confederacy. So, but anytime I made a post about AOC, I have all these liberals in my mentions, and all these liberals had like JD, MD, PhD, or even master's degree in their username. And I was like, that's really presumptuous and arrogant to put, your academic qualifications in there. And a lot of them didn't even have that good of academic qualifications. Like, who is so arrogant to put JD in their Twitter username? So I then decided to do Scott Greer, MD, PhD, and JD. And then they all believed it. It's like, how is a man so highly educated having these views? And then I added 6'2" in there, which then further confused him. Is like, why does he have his height along with these impeccable credentials? And then I just decided to shorten it to 6'2", 187 IQ, which during the Lauren Boebert thing where I made this viral joke post about how young women should look up to Lauren Boebert rather than Taylor Swift. I had a couple websites that tried to fact check my IQ, but they couldn't disprove it. They couldn't disprove it. And this is back in the old Twitter days where you couldn't just buy verification. Verification was given to you by Twitter. So I had the old verified badge with 6'2", 187. So it was
certified,
fully verified by the old Twitter. So they could not dispute these impeccable credentials.
Nor can we.
Well, that is our guest, Scott Greer. The book is Whitepill. It's available for order now. It's linked in the description. You can find Scott at highly-respected.com and on X, where you will see his height and IQ listed. It's at Scott M. Greer. Scott, is there anything else you'd like to promote?
Just buy the book, Whitepill, The Online Right and the Making of Trump's America. It's available for order right now at passage.press, and it will be available from Amazon later this month. So get your copy today.
Don't let the woke mob win.
Don't let the woke mob win. Ever. Never, ever.
Thank you for your time. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
I'm impressed with the duct tape. Impressed and
Stand back
hopeful.
and stand by.
Thanks again to our guest, Scott Greer. Grab his book, Whitepill, and follow him on X, linked in the description. Find him at highly-respected.com. Scott is highly respected. You, Matt, are highly regarded. And as we discussed off air, I wondered if the concept of a high regard was borrowed from the concept of high respect. But you say no, pure coincidence.
Yeah, no, it was because on Facebook, they used to have certain words that if you use them, they would automatically ban you, and one of them was retard. So people would call them each other regards, or say, hey, you're being highly regarded. So that's just the origin. It was just some dumb kind of joke with me and my friends on Facebook. Yeah.
Coincidental, but some might say the highly respected and the highly regarded are
one and the same.
Intermingling populations.
I don't have a 187 IQ, though.
Oh, okay. Are you 6'2"? I don't know how tall you are.
6'4", believe it or not.
Are you actually?
Yeah.
So you're
Certified.
a tall dude. Okay.
Yeah, it's nice.
So if I ever stand next to you,
lie.
I will look like I'm 5'6", like people have joked about me
Aw.
supposedly being. No, I'm not.
crouch
I'm
down
actually,
a little.
I'm on a good day, I'm 6'1", but more like 6'1.5 inches. So you would have me beat, and you could brag about that in your X bio. All right, you ready for Hoax Hate? This is a classic.
And now the nobody saw it happen, but it's totally a product of Trump's America hoax hate crime of the week.
Ah, shit, it's backwards. You think they'll notice?
In Atlanta, a black actual watermelon farmer and developing community grocer, apparently, says someone vandalized one of his watermelons by carving the N-word into it. Eliyahu Benassa owns and operates Atlanta Harvest in Ellenwood. This is outside of Atlanta. And he says he was inspecting his watermelons when he made this discovery. He was bringing a shipment, apparently a donation shipment, to some site other than his own business. He made this discovery. He's just thankful the watermelon, the N-word watermelon, was not inadvertently sold to a customer. So he spread this news by Instagram, and local reporters are, of course, eager to feature it as though some Klansman actually snuck onto his watermelon farm and carved the N-word into this guy's watermelon.
A Metro Atlanta farmers market says someone vandalized one of their products by carving a racial slur into it.
11 Alive's Chase Howell spoke with the owner, who says he fights hate by loving on his community.
Carved into this watermelon is the N-word.
It was disheartening to see, but it's not going to stop us.
Eliyahu Benassa owns Atlanta Harvest along with his family. Benassa says he was taken back when he saw the racial slur spelled out on one of his watermelons.
It was a horrifying thing to pull out as a gift. My intention was to give it away, but I'm glad that I caught it and no one else had.
According to Benassa, Atlanta Harvest is all about serving the community. So while seeing someone do something like this is disappointing, it won't stop him from his mission.
My father has always taught me to never falter, never change. The work that we do is too important for us to be bogged down by any kind of bad situation.
Some of the work Benassa is referring to is offering nutrient-dense produce from local farms at a low price. And for those who may be buying it with an EBT card, they offer 50% off.
We can see that families are really in need. The price of food and the price of everything nowadays has gone up. And so if we can help them by not only providing them with the most nutrient-dense foods, but also giving it to them at a discount, that's the work that needs to be done.
Atlanta Harvest is open Sunday through Friday from 11 to 6.
Well, Matt, I can't believe that the business model of selling food at half price to food stamp recipients is not working out particularly great. I tried to find an uncensored image of the watermelon in question to verify the N-word carved into it, to verify it is what he says it is. But I could only find the censored images, so couldn't find the actual carving. Now, there currently is no GoFundMe campaign, but wow, look how this viral story has really improved business at this community farmers market of
What are
his.
the odds?
Yeah. So now the follow-up story is there's a long line of customers eager to get their their watermelons free from racial slurs.
An act of hate aimed at a black-owned Atlanta farmers market is being met with an overwhelming show of support after the owners say someone carved a racial slur into one of these watermelons.
Business has finally started to slow down out here all day. The community has been showing up in numbers to support this locally owned, black-owned farmers market after they say someone carved a racial slur into a watermelon.
We got some plums, definitely a watermelon, big watermelon, some sweet potatoes.
Yeah! It's an hour and a half drive from Burnsville, Georgia, but Stephanie Wiley says making the trip was an easy decision to support a black-owned business targeted by a racial slur.
We saw it on social media, and for one, it's black-owned, and we definitely want to support our black-owned businesses.
I don't even like racism.
Every business that advertises that it's black-owned is useless. It's like the best case scenario is it's just a restaurant. But it's
what about
never
the telescope
impressive.
manufacturer?
Good point.
Don't forget them.
Forgot about that. But I've actually seen evidence that when I think this was a study on when you could list if you're black owned, like in the Google search results or whatever.
Yeah. Did they take that away? That's
I don't know.
Not a thing
It
anymore?
probably is still there, but the study or at least analysis found that it actually works against you. People are less likely to go to those businesses. So
when I've seen stuff at stores like this demographic owned, I'm inclined to avoid, not even out of a dislike of any particular demographic, but out of a rejection of the premise that you want me to purchase a product based on the demographic of the person who owns the business or produced it.
My only exception is coffee shops. The more insanely liberal they are, the better the coffee. It's the only exception to this rule I've ever found. We're like, if you have a disgusting monstrosity trans pride flag, and I'm like, oh, I hate what I'm about to do, but it's
sometimes I just need a good latte.
I got to do it. I hate betraying my own values, but
even though so they have the business is surging because someone allegedly wrote a slur into the watermelon. So now everyone's in line to get some watermelons. And when he says, this is, or actually, let me back up. I've butchered it. I've butchered the sequence here. I was rattling my brain trying to think about all the massively successful black-owned telescope businesses or whatever we're getting into. Anyway, there's a big line of customers and they're trying to get their watermelons. And that business model has worked so great that the shop owner, Ben Asa, or whatever his name is, Aliyahu Ben Asa, he's doubling down on the strategy. Oh, wow. I said there was an N-word carved into the watermelon. You guys all showed up to buy watermelons. Get this. I was actually texted an N-word as well. It's not just the carving. It's also a text message.
The owners say about a week ago, they received another racist message.
Somebody texted our number making threats about doing damage to the farm, using the N-word. So, yeah, it's weird. It's obviously targeted, specific.
I feel like there's a business opportunity here where, like, I could contract with black people and be like, all right, give me like a 20% royalty and I'll send you a racist message just for your business. like I'll carve the N-word for you. Just give me like a couple $100 my way and make sure I don't get caught.
That's entrepreneurial.
That would be the best white-black partnership you could have. Also, this guy's business is a stereotype. Like, what are we fucking doing here?
I know. Like, where do you must sell purple drink and fried chicken there as well. Yeah. Anyway.
Oh, well, I wish him the best. Even though
I'm out to prove black people are more than watermelon farmers by complaining about being called the N-word while watermelon farming.
Well, it's smart marketing. I'm not going to...
it's working.
Realize,
I guess. Now, what are you saying there? So the alleged N-word happened weeks ago. And then he now gets an N-word text message, which he didn't show as far as I'm aware. Maybe it's on his Instagram page. I haven't seen it. But according to his own commentary, he still has not filed a police report. And dang it, the vandal wasn't caught on his surveillance cameras at his business. It's such a sneaky N-word carving Klansman or whoever this is.
And the owner said they've reviewed their cameras and have not been able to identify who could have been behind this racial slur. They tell us they plan to file a police report. Reporting in Ellenwood, I'm Ashley Lincoln for Channel 2 Action News.
So someone vandalized your property. and you don't actually care who or when or how this person did it, you don't go to police to find out who did it. Instead, you just cash in for weeks and then, wow, someone else threatened me too, so you guys better come back and buy even more watermelons. The police report, we'll get around to that. Eventually, we'll think about it.
He doesn't trust the racist police, and who can blame him, is what they would say.
Oh, yeah, of course. Yeah. He's going to get his neck kneeled on if he calls them, for sure. The fact that he doesn't treat this seriously enough to file a police report tells you that he isn't worried about it. The entire premise that he is terrified by a bunch of racist people who are threatening him. No, he loves it. And that's why the mysterious racists who can never be seen or explained or identified keep attacking him, and he keeps cashing in at the watermelon farm. But I'm sure we're going to find that Klansman arrested soon. It's going to be, you know who did it? Those two brothers from Rhode Island that we talked to.
We'll have to talk to him again.
They're behind this.
I'll text him after the show. I'll get the scoop.
We'll figure it out. Anyway, so that's all from the watermelon farm. You have any more to say about that? I got another one for
What's this place called again? I'm going to look it up just for...
It's, the place is called Atlanta Harvest, but it's in Ellenwood, Georgia.
All right, my keyboard's actually working, which is...
Oh, well, that's good. We've improved some of the duct tape a little bit.
Yeah, for some reason, it just gets frozen a little bit when I'm on.
I've never heard it. So can I discuss the problem and maybe someone will email me the solution?
Yeah, the problem is when I do this show, and I think it's just a problem with Zoom, my keyboard either doesn't work or it gets extremely laggy. Like I could type a word and then it's 10 seconds of nothing, and then it might, if I type like Matt, 10 seconds might go by, and then just the letter M gets typed 20 times and then ATT at the end, or I don't know, it just gets really laggy when I'm on Zoom.
And that only is a problem when you're in a Zoom call.
Only on Zoom, and it seems that the desktop and the browser version both do the same thing. Yeah, which is kind of annoying, but hasn't derailed the show too much yet.
I'm impressed with the duct tape. Impressed and
hopeful. Yeah, if anyone knows what the issue is, just tell me why I'm technologically illiterate.
I've never heard of that. And I've had my fair share of tech problems, but I've never heard of keyboard not working during Zoom call.
Story of my life.
We'll try to figure it out.
Yeah.
Surely you will use your 6'4" height and your 190 IQ to resolve this. Yeah.
Someone says it might be a memory issue.
Is your computer super old and crappy or something?
Actually, no, but I'm going to write that down to look into later.
Well, then we just need to get Matt P some RAM.
Yeah,
plug it in, and you'll be able to use your keyboard
NSA,
once again.
It does sound like a skill issue. Skull, you got to help me out, man. Text me and talk to me in Discord after this. Anyway, back to the show.
Not that like computer resources is impossible, and I'm not the greatest tech guy, but I've never heard of computer can run Zoom call fine, but can't accept keyboard text inputs.
That's where it draws the line, man.
That doesn't make any sense, but there's something's going haywire.
It's just life.
And you're saying it's been this way the whole time.
Oh yeah.
It's not a new thing.
Well, it's like, okay, 10% of the time it's fun. But then,
well, that's all we need is the 10% that's during the show.
Yeah, I can't choose, you know.
Yeah, all right.
Yeah.
Well, in other hoax hate events, recall a few weeks ago the story of Delonte Jackson, a black gay guy in DC who was severely beaten and then dumped in an alley where he then died. And his family, this was over Memorial Day weekend, said that this was a hate crime and should be investigated as such because he was gay. Even though what his family said, you'll probably remember this text message part, it made no sense. They said that on the day he died, he was texting them, members of his family, saying he was with person X and person Y and that he didn't feel safe. But the family didn't see fit to tell us who person X and Y are because, again, we're at this point, we're still trying to find who killed him, and they're not revealing the identities of the person he was, the people he was saying, I'm with these people and I feel unsafe. Shouldn't we know who that is, or at least a relationship, so we can start trying to figure out the case? No, they did not reveal that information. And presumably they didn't reveal that information because perhaps it would disprove the hate crime narrative that they were spinning. I'm guessing. Maybe they had other reasons. But now there's been an arrest in this case. And now we know for sure that this is not an anti-gay hate crime because the guy who murdered him, or at least who is accused, indeed used to put it in his butt.
According to court documents, Delonte Jackson was brutally beaten inside a home at the Paradise at Parkside apartment complex in Northeast D.C. on May 24th. Police found the murder suspect, Maurice Mo Hawley, a few weeks later on June 16th in North Carolina. He's been brought back to D.C. to face a first-degree murder charge. Charging documents reveal the horrific nature of the crime. Photos from surveillance video show, according to police, Hawley dragging Jackson out of the apartment on J Street Northeast into a rental car. Photos also show the car in the area of East Capitol Street where Jackson was dumped in an alley. The documents reveal after Jackson was dumped in the alley, the car circled back and ran over his legs. A witness told police the suspect also stomped on Jackson's head 10 times. Some of the photos of his injuries are too gruesome to show on TV. While a motive was not clearly established in the case, court documents say one person told detectives they believe Jackson was the victim of a hate crime. Jackson was openly gay. Now, Hawley told witnesses Jackson sent him sexual messages and referred to Jackson using homophobic slurs. A witness told investigators that Jackson and Hawley had argued about dating before the beating. And during the attack, Jackson repeatedly cried, "Stop, Mo, stop." Police tell News 4 the murder is not being investigated as a hate crime.
They're probably gays.
It was a former love crime, at least former lover's crime. They argued about dating before the beating. During the attack, okay, yeah. So he was saying, "Stop, Mo, stop." Clearly, they knew each other, and apparently the allegation is that they had a former relationship together. So, yeah. Not only was it black on black, it was gay on gay in DC.
It was NF on NF.
Yeah, indeed, that's what this was.
I feel like our batting average in this segment is pretty high.
I've had a few totally wrong, but
the only one like I wasn't sure of, and it's like the Ilhan Omar one where it's like it's weird.
No, that one was fake.
It's weird as hell. It looks fake to me. I
remain convinced that one's fake.
I just don't understand the criminal charge element though.
Because if you want to know my sincere theory of the case,
was it the financial? Like he had financial problems. And you think
this
he was
guy's
paid
life
to
is
take
a
the fall?
mess? Yes.
Okay.
And he took a relatively minor guilty plea, considering his criminal history and financial state, to get payment from Ilhan Omar. Now, do I have evidence of the payment? No. I am circumstantially surmising that that's what happened. But I do not believe for a second that this guy authentically attacked her with apple cider vinegar and she stood there bravely in defiance.
I mean,
and instead of going to the hospital to get evaluated, she went straight to CNN to advertise her own bravery.
Yeah.
It's bullshit. This guy had a reason to do it, and it's because of the dire, the desperate state he was in, and they helped him. That's my theory.
Interesting. All right. Yeah, I remember we talked about that. I mean, I guess to play off the story we did just an hour ago, like you can get shot for approaching someone like that, apparently. So I know it's just weird for a public figure, especially a woman, to not react at all with a man's coming towards you with a liquid that could be an acid. Yeah. Especially a Muslim woman, you think she'd be, aware of that.
She should have whipped out her Aladdin sword and sliced his arm off.
Yeah.
Okay.
According to court documents, Delon
didn't mean to pull that up, but I do have one more story for you. Where is Paramus, New Jersey? Do you know where that is?
Oh yeah, it's not too far from me. It's a nice area.
Well, maybe you can use your highly regarded research skills to help the Paramus authorities solve the mystery of how a photo of baby Hitler got into the middle school yearbook and who is responsible for this injustice.
These pages are all baby pictures of kids who just graduated Eastbrook Middle School. We're blurring them to protect their identities, but one picture, number 48, has absolutely nothing to do with the students and their school pride.
Yeah.
That is an infant picture of Adolf Hitler. Once Eastbrook administration learned about the picture, it acted immediately, instantly, collecting all the books that had been distributed to students. They sent home a letter condemning the act. How the picture was included is under investigation. Paramus police were notified, and the information was shared with the Bergen County Prosecutor's Office, all wanting to get to the bottom of who did this.
Why they would do it, the influence behind why they would do it, how it got past the eyeball test. Although, in all fairness, it might be hard to identify the picture if you don't know that picture.
Yeah, you just answered it, retard. I showed my wife the picture without like explaining the story, and she's like, "Oh my god, what a cute baby!"
Well, yeah, that guy. If you're listening to this, he's from the local Jewish Federation. But apparently thinks, I guess, people can identify photos of baby Hitler on site, or that
most people can. I can, but I'm a lunatic. Most people can have no idea.
If you just see a black and white, old-looking photo of a baby, you should assume that it's Hitler.
It's Hitler. Yeah, it's the only. I mean, the similarities are there, but I don't think most people would recognize. I think most people would see that photo and wonder, well, that's clearly not a student. I wonder who that is. But I don't think they would know it's Hitler.
There are two possibilities here as far as who did it. One is troll parent. So it's a middle school yearbook. They submit baby photos for the middle school yearbook as I assume, graduate and go off to high school or whatever. But it could be that a troll parent submitted the photo just to see what would happen. Or it could be that there's some troll in the school office who assembles this thing, decides that it's funny if X person is Hitler instead. Do you think either one of those is more likely?
Because
I would think the parent probably.
Because if you have to submit, presumably your name is attached to it and who the kid is supposed to be or is. Like, are we supposed to believe parents are just submitting a photo with no context whatsoever? Just here you go.
Well, that's so. First of all, this is a matter for the local DA's office and the police department. Why? And second of all, as someone with first of all, this isn't a criminal case, but as I was saying, second of all, though, as someone with no criminal investigative experience, could handle this in a matter of a couple hours because there are only a couple people to talk to. One is the parents of the kid in question, whoever number 48 is.
Yeah.
Two is the person at the office in the school that assembles the yearbook. Yeah. And it is one of those two people who did it. So why is this a matter for local law enforcement at all? But secondarily, since it is, how does this possibly remain a mystery about who is behind this?
If I don't know if this is the case, but if every kid submitted one or parent, then isn't it just process of elimination, or is there one extra photo than there are students?
I assume number 48 is assigned to a person. It's not just like they're not random.
Yeah.
Unless
it's just some really racist kid who they think is going to be the next Hitler.
The only situation which I could see it randomized is if you were collecting photos and people had to guess, but you wouldn't do that in a yearbook. Guess who this baby photo is? That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
They have to know who submitted that photo. Who is the parent of number 48? Go talk to that person.
Yeah.
But it doesn't even investigate. First, you're not going to have a criminal punishment for this because it's not a criminal matter. But even for the school investigating, are you going to punish the kid? Like, let's say that dad did it because he's a troll.
Yeah.
Are you going to punish little Johnny because dad thought it was funny to submit a baby photo of Hitler? And this is the classic moral question, kind of is it right to kill baby Hitler, even though he's not Hitler yet? Like, is a photo of baby Hitler really Hitler?
He wasn't evil yet. Yeah. He didn't grow into the role.
He is actually still just an innocent baby in that photo.
Yeah.
He had many years to think about what he wanted to write in his books and then enact, but he hadn't done it yet. He was dreaming about paintings in this photo.
Did you ever see that? I know I make a Norm Macdonald reference every episode. It's the one where he was talking to, I think it was Andy Samberg from Lonely Island, and he was talking about how, like, everyone wants a time machine to go back and kill Hitler, but I'm worried I might fall under his spell if I go back. And then Sandberg's like, yeah, you start talking to the guy, you don't think he's that bad. And then whoever was hosting the talk was like, all right, so anyway, we have to cut away here and shut the whole thing down. So I'm not doing it any justice, but it's a funny Norm clip to look up.
Well, that was even a part of, remember Chelsea Handler's stupid bit of, now a day in the life of a 50-year-old childless woman. I have so much time to smoke weed and rub myself.
Shit. Yeah.
And then I go back in time and kill baby Hitler. Or did she say Hitler? Was it just Hitler or was it baby Hitler? Maybe I might be.
One of the two. Baby would be easier for sure.
I know she went, freeze, you bastard. But was it the baby or now I have to fact check. I might be doing an injustice to Chelsea Handler, and nobody should be mischaracterized in that way.
Whenever all these childless losers brag about how much extra money they have, they spend it on the dumbest stuff. It's never anything actually cool.
Like weed and sex toys is what she was bragging about. Yeah.
That's great. Which you can still afford with a kid. Here's the thing. I'm not going to deny it costs a lot of money to have a kid, but it costs less than I thought it would. Like everything's baby priced, you know.
Diapers are expensive. You know, as far as feeding the formula, dude, I'm convinced formula.
The formula is insane.
Is a giant scam. And without getting into too many personal details, our family, we don't try to be formula dependent, but formula has its place, you know.
Yeah.
And supposedly you're not supposed to give a kid milk like from a cow until age 1. I think that's formula industry scam. I think that's bullshit. But we
should expose it.
Well, in formula,
we can do it.
Oh, you can't give your kid anything but formula, you know, or breast milk, obviously, until age 1. I don't think that's true. I'm not a pediatric nutritionist. I just think there are formula industry scams at play that try to tell you can't. You know,
well,
if you're out there and you have like a 9-month-old, don't make him chug a gallon of milk because I told you to. Yeah. But it's bullshit.
These industry conspiracies do actually exist, though. Like, I know this is the most obvious example, but the whole, like, you know, you're supposed to spend 2 months' salary on a wedding ring was created by a diamond company.
Yeah, that makes sense.
You know, De Beers. But anyway, back to the show.
Well, that's all I got on Baby Hitler, actually, unless you have more commentary on that.
I mean, honestly, not really.
All right. Well, let's close out with Super Chat. We will call it a night. I got to refresh over on YouTube. I am good on Rumble. We got Laughing Boy. Let me refresh on Tippy and make sure I didn't miss any over there. Just one from Tim. To any Super Chatter that has a chat missed. Sorry, if you remember the old days of the stream where reading on Tippy stream was like impossible and that was kind of a bit. This is why, is because the way they display them is so reader unfriendly. And so I used to struggle to read them until we got this aggregator going, and then it was easier. But that's why I'm struggling to read over here on Tippy stream. Tim says, to any Super Chatter that is not that has a chat missed, I do keep an eye out for that and was about to mention those 2 missed chats to Matt. If a chat has been missed, you can @ Tim in the regular chat, as in on YouTube. You can repeat if he doesn't respond, rather than sending a new Super Chat. That's true. If you do have chats missed, of course, it would not be my preference that you have to then send another chat to get our attention. So we try to accommodate that. Yep. And Tim helps us with that, and we appreciate it.
Yep. Yeah, and Tim can text me. I've always had my phone out for him to text me if, you know, there's an emergency or anything. So
we have some kind of Australian koala bear or something watching the stream the whole time, ready to send a message across the globe to get to us if we...
He even gives us like commentary sometimes and stuff. It's very useful.
Yeah. Let's see. Orthodox Christian Andrew, mischat. Got that one. Again, sorry about the mischat, and thanks for coming back to us. Taker610. I want to meet the guy who thought the name of the species of dinosaur discovered in the country of Niger.
The Nigerosaurus?
Yeah, it should be the Nigersaurus. I can't remember which version of the stream I talked about that, but that dinosaur has been discussed on this show. You can look it up. Just Google N-word saurus with 1 G. Nigersaurus. It's legit. You'll find National Geographic videos about this dinosaur. And I don't know if that the jokes write themselves. Was that dinosaur responsible for 50% of the Jurassic era murders?
Probably 60%.
I don't know. When was under policing of the Nigersaurus responsible for the other dinosaur extinction or extinction of the other dinosaurs? I don't know. Esoterica Unbound. It's storming here. The internet died before the start of the show, just now came back. I was wondering if and when you were going to get around to discussing the big black attack dykes of the WNBA. Well, mostly I don't discuss WNBA on this show by my own design because like Matt Palumbo in Star Wars, I'm a guy with stuff to do, okay? He doesn't have time to pay attention to Qui-Gon Jinn. I don't have time to pay attention to the WNBA. We did get into that incidentally a little bit with regard to a caller or a voicemailer on the Wednesday show. So if you go to the voicemail section of the Wednesday show, we do talk about the black air quotes women, and I use that term lightly, who the one in particular on the Phoenix team that knocked Caitlin Clark to the ground and had the fist to her throat, which is a crazy scene already. But when you see like the arm muscle definition on that woman, testicle check mandatory. Okay. That is a man's arm. You can see the rippling muscle in it. It's ridiculous.
Well, they do have, I think, similar testosterone levels to us. So,
as in like WNBA player black chicks do, or who?
I think black chicks in general have
really
like male,
like
level
Jasmine
testosterone.
type, even the eyelashes ones.
I mean, I'm not like a expert on this, but I think that's.
I assume
thought
the
that was
eyelashes
stat.
maintain proper hormone balance.
Yeah.
Do they not?
But
They
they
actually.
did.
All right.
They did suspend that player for one game, so she's going to lose like $80 as a result. You know?
Wow,
it's brutal.
Rough. All right, I think we are all set. But yeah, that's the most WNBA I've talked was that brief section on the Wednesday stream.
Did you see the blonde chick who just triggered them all by pointing at them? That was so funny.
The Sophie.
Yeah, it's hilarious.
What's her? In fact, the image I used for the thumbnail is from the account, the Rican memes on X. But it's Trump and her in their
you're going
patriotic
the back
outfits
and forth,
pointing at each other. Yeah.
And she said her politics are middle of the road, so she's a Republican, which
means no, she's a Nazi. And she's
yes.
Her
she has the look.
This is actually Sophie Cunningham as a baby. Her middle school baby photo is right there.
Yeah,
that's Sophie. Is what that means. All right. I think we are all set. Let me give a quick refresh. We're going to call it a night. But anything else that we need to discuss any further?
I don't think so.
Oh, Matt Grendel over on Rumble.
I'm getting a lot of messages related to my PC issue, so thank you guys for reaching out. I got some from Skull on Discord, and some other people tagged me, so I'll read them after the show.
Thanks for that. And if you need to contact Matt or you think you've cracked the case, you can email me, or can I give out your email? I'm the boss of it.
Yeah, that's fine.
It's my email that I own.
I forgot you meant the company one. That or my Twitter, anything.
I'm
works,
not going to give out your personal. But Palumbo at mattchristiansenmedia.com. You can email him there.
Yes.
I should make you a contact form on the website. But
as
as always, even if someone is a total douchebag when they email you, respond kindly,
Highly regarded ways.
Yeah, maintain the high regard.
Oh,
even when they try to troll you. Matt Grendel, thanks, Matt and Matt. Regards, Matt. This is like my middle school classroom. I was always Matt C. I don't know what Mac is. I'm Matt C. You're Matt P. He's Matt whatever. I never had to get into Matt C 1 and 2 though. We never made it that far.
So. When I grew up, once you're like in middle school as a guy, at least where I grew up, you just become your last name.
That never happened to me.
Really?
No.
Yeah, where I was in my group, it was just last names. But
my last name it's only 3 syllables like yours, but it's long in spelling.
Yeah, it doesn't work as well. You could be like Maddie C or something, I guess.
Yeah. Speaking of people thinking I'm gay, that
would be very gay. Yeah,
so leans into it a little bit. Anyway, we are all set. Appreciate everybody on Rumble, everybody on YouTube, everybody on Tippy Stream. Thank you for supporting the show. We'll call it there. So thank you to our live chatters, our super chatters, everybody hanging out live for making the live show a success. If you're listening on demand later, thank you kindly as well for supporting the show. Thanks to our guest, Scott Greer, for joining tonight. Find his book, Whitepill, linked in the description. Find him at highly-respected.com. Thanks to the highly-regarded Matt Palumbo as well. His X account, his latest book on Alex Soros, linked in the description for you too. Thanks to producer Tim Down Under for his assistance as always. Hey, find everything show related at mattis.gay. It's safe for work, kind of. Or mattchristiansenmedia.com. It's actually the same place. Join the MC Club if you enjoyed the show. Plenty of supporter perks for you there, and you help keep the duct tape production in operation. Maybe we can get Matt Palumbo a new keyboard or something. We'll figure it out. I'm live on Wednesday and Sunday nights. Have a great night and a great week. And happy 250th, America.